Chapter 3164. This kid? The green-robed man glanced at Lin Xian with a hint of disdain in his eyes. At the next moment, he raised his hand, and a ball of green mist directly enveloped Lin Xian. Buzz! The space around Lin Xian quickly shattered as though it was being corroded by the poisonous gas. Ha! I was wondering what kind of expert I was, but it turns out that you're just an idiot. You can't even dodge my attack. Don't worry, beauty. He has been poisoned by me and won't be able to survive. The green-robed man laughed. Can't dodge? You think too highly of yourself. Your poisonous gas won't be able to cause me any harm. A voice came from the poisonous gas in front. Then, a palm stretched out and tore the poisonous gas apart. He's not poisoned? How is this possible? The green-robed man was stunned. Yu, who was in his arms, also froze. She quickly reminded her husband. Husband, you have to be careful. This kid is very strange. The green-robed man frowned. He can actually defend against my poisonous gas? Kid, interesting. Which clan are you from? Tell me your name. I, the green-robed ancestor, won't kill nameless people. Green-robed ancestor? Lin Xian sneered. You dare to call yourself an ancestor? Hurry up and scram, or I'll kill you. Kid, you're courting death. The green-robed ancestor was enraged. He transformed into a beam of green light and instantly rushed out. A palm surrounded by green poisonous gas grabbed at Lin Xian's heart like a devil's claw. Humph! Lin Xian coldly snorted and punched out. With a bang, it collided with the green devil's claw. At the next moment, the green-robed ancestor screamed miserably and retreated. His entire arm was directly shattered. Not only that, the aftershock of the energy hit his body, causing half of his body to explode into a mist of blood. The green-robed ancestor was seriously injured with a single strike. At the back, Yu screamed when she saw this scene. Her eyes were filled with shock. How is this possible? How is he so powerful? She was very clear about the green-robed ancestor's strength. Furthermore, this green-robed ancestor was very fond of beautiful women. In order to protect her life, Yu had no choice but to become the green-gowned ancestor's cultivation vessel. She hoped that the green-gowned ancestor would be able to protect her. But now, in just one move, half of the green-robed ancestor's body was shattered. Lin Xian, on the other hand, was completely unaffected. Yu was alarmed by this huge contrast. This is the expert you found? You want to use such a person to kill me? Lin Xian looked at Yu and shook his head. This woman was too stupid. Yu's heart sank to the bottom of the sea. She was filled with despair. On the other side, the green-robed ancestor's body reassembled. His face was filled with malice. Damn brat, you actually dared to hurt me? I will make you pay a painful price. Don't worry, little beauty, I still have a trump card that I haven't used yet. He glanced at Yu, then turned around and stared at Lin Xian. Kid, you're very strong. His physical body was very strong, and so was his strength. But so what? In front of my strength, you won't be able to withstand a single blow. Next, I will let you experience a power that is close to the Tao. The green-robed ancestor laughed malevolently. Yu's body trembled, and hope returned to her eyes. Yes, the reason why she joined the green-robed ancestor was because she heard that he had grasped this kind of power. Once this power was used, it would be much stronger than Wan Gong and the Bloody Blade Monarch. It far surpassed the king level. After Lin Xian heard this, a trace of surprise appeared on his face. Oh, a power that is close to the Tao. You actually grasp this kind of power? Yes. That's right, this kid has a power that is close to the Tao. You're afraid, right? Kneel down and beg for mercy now? I will consider torturing you for a few hundred years. Otherwise, I will make you suffer for the rest of your life. Yu's eyes also regained hope. Kid, let's see how you will die this time. The opponent would definitely not be able to block this kind of power that is close to the Tao. Lin Xian was somewhat expectant. Then show me your power. Let me see how much you have comprehended. Hearing this question that sounded like an elder asking, the green-robed ancestor was angered again. You're courting death. Since that's the case, I will show you. A piercingly cold green light appeared in the green-robed ancestor's eyes. Countless poisonous gas surged on his body. He opened his mouth and spat out a stream of dark green poisonous gas, which transformed into a dark green giant sword and flew forward. This dark green longsword's aura was indeed different. It carried a mysterious and unfathomable power. As soon as it appeared, it shattered the void and seemed to be able to corrode everything. How terrifying! Haiyu's body trembled, and she instantly knelt down. She fled into the distance as if she had gone crazy. Was this the power that is close to the Tao? The moment it appeared, it suppressed her, and she could not resist at all. Thinking of this, her face was full of excitement. Then I'm dead for sure. That kid will definitely not be able to block it. She raised her head and looked into the distance. As expected, she saw Lin Xian standing there without dodging. He won't be able to escape. When I use this power, he won't even be able to run away. The green-robed ancestor also laughed. In his opinion, this sword was enough to kill the other party. Golden light flickered in Lin Xian's eyes as he stared at the flying green sword. The power of poison? He could feel that it carried a monstrous poison that could instantly kill a peak powerhouse. It was indeed a power that was close to the Tao, but it was too weak. The other party's power was only equivalent to Jun Wuya's. Compared to him, there was still a huge gap. In the next moment, he raised his palm and grabbed the sword with the power of annihilation. You dare to resist with your bare hands? What an idiot! Kid, I guess you haven't seen a power that's close to the Tao in your life, right? Let me tell you, this is a power that surpasses that of a king. It's very close to a half-step sage, yet you dare to resist it with your physical body? Who do you think you are? A sacred body? Let me tell you! Even a sacred body will collapse under this power. The green-robed ancestor laughed loudly. However, in the next moment, his voice came to an abrupt stop as if someone had grabbed his neck. Impossible! His eyeballs almost popped out because the other party had grabbed the green sword that he had thrown out. The green sword flickered with the power of poison. It was covered in runes that flickered incomparably. At this moment, it was like a small snake that kept twisting and turning, as if it wanted to break free from Lin Xian's palm, but it couldn't do it at all. Lin Xian's palm was covered with the power of annihilation as he grabbed the sword. Then, he activated his heavenly secret divine eyes to the extreme. In his left eye, the plenilune seed kept jumping. How could Lin Xian give up after seeing a new power? He had to quickly comprehend and analyze it. He wanted to strengthen his understanding of the world. Damn it, how is this possible? How could you possibly catch my sword? On the other side, the green-robed ancestor went crazy. Haiyu was also dumbfounded. She couldn't understand a battle at this level at all. However, the green-robed ancestor knew. When a power that was close to the Tao was used, apart from a true sage or a half-step sage, only people who had the same power could resist it. If the other party could block it, it meant that the other party had a power that was close to the Tao in his hand. Chapter 3165. Damn it, was the other party also a top genius? Thinking of this, the green-robed ancestor's face became incomparably cold. He opened his mouth and spat out a green fan again. This green fan was engraved with runes and carried an extremely terrifying corrosive power. As soon as it appeared, the void shattered, forming a huge black hole. Go to hell! This was a half-step sacred artifact, and at this moment, he was using it to the extreme. Moreover, in addition to the power that was close to the Tao. In an instant, countless green poisonous winds danced rapidly and swept towards Lin Xian, as if they wanted to kill Lin Xian. Lin Xian used his movement technique and moved back and forth in space. He was not in a hurry to make a move. Instead, he used the heavenly secret divine eyes and the plenilune seed to quickly observe. He even took the risk and used his body to resist the power of the poison. It was a terrifying power that could poison everything. Even if there was no life, it could instantly corrode. Lin Xian was greatly enlightened. To be honest, he was currently in the stage of comprehending the great Tao of heaven and earth, so he would not miss out on every fight with someone who had a power that was close to the Tao. Damn brat, if you have the ability, fight me head on. On the other side, the green-robed ancestor was going crazy with anger. Because he realized that the power he attacked directly hit the void, but it did not kill the other party. The other party's speed was too strange. He actually could not hit the other party. This made him roar incomparably. However, Lin Xian did not care at all. This continued for a period of time. The green-robed ancestor was about to collapse. At this moment, Lin Xian retracted his gaze. He had already sensed enough and did not continue to comprehend. Because the power of poison was not what he needed. He only needed to understand it. Next, it was time to understand it. Lin Xian's eyes burst out with a biting cold light. With a cold shout, a few black runes rushed out of his body. It was very strange and flew above the poison gas. Immediately, the poison gas melted like ice and quickly disappeared. Damn it! How was this possible? The green-robed ancestor was stunned. What was going on? His poison gas could corrode everything. But now, his poison gas was actually corroded. What was this? Could it be that the other party had mastered an even more powerful poison? What kind of poison could be more powerful than the power of the Tao? Annihilation Sword Lotus. Lin Xian unleashed his sword qi. Combined with the power of annihilation, it formed a sword qi lotus that enveloped the area in front of him. Damn it, get out of my sight! The green-robed old ancestor used his semi-sage tool to fight against it. Oh? Half-saint tool? Lin Xian was shocked. No wonder the other party was so arrogant. Not only had he comprehended a power that was close to the Tao, but he also had a powerful half-step sacred tool. Thinking of this, his figure flickered, and he instantly appeared in front of the other party, throwing out a punch. With a loud boom, the punch landed on his opponent's body. Pun! The green-robed ancestor's body was smashed into pieces. Green blood splattered in all directions, and a miserable cry rang out. The green-robed ancestor hurriedly controlled the half-step sage artifact to protect his body and reassemble it. In the next moment, his face turned incomparably pale. Damn it, I'm going to kill you! As if he had gone mad, he used the half-step sage artifact to the extreme and even burned his spiritual power. Lin Xian snorted coldly. He stretched out a large golden hand and directly grabbed the half-step sage artifact, firmly locking it in place. His other palm once again struck out with the Annihilation Sword Lotus and pushed it forward. Boom! This time, the Annihilation Sword Lotus completely enveloped the green-robed ancestor. Then, the green-robed ancestor disappeared into thin air. He was dead. In the distance, Haiyu trembled when she saw this scene. The green-robed ancestor's soul didn't even manage to escape. He was killed just like that. This was impossible. She finally screamed crazily. She was really on the verge of collapse. That was a power that was close to the Tao. How terrifying! It had completely surpassed the king level. But now, he was actually killed so easily. Who was this young man in front of her? Lin Xian turned his head to look at Haiyu. With a plop, Haiyu knelt on the ground, her body trembling. Lin Gongzi, spare me? I beg you, spare my life. Haiyu was really scared. Even a powerful figure like the green-robed ancestor was killed, let alone her. Lin Xian said coldly. Where are the spiritual herbs I want? They're here. They're all here. Haiyu hurriedly took out a storage ring. Lin Xian stretched out a large golden hand. After receiving the storage ring, his soul entered it. Then, he kept it. He glanced at Haiyu and directly pierced through the latter's forehead with his sword. Puff! Haiyu fell weakly with her eyes wide open. It seemed that she didn't expect Lin Xian to directly kill her without saying anything. Next, it was the Wan family's turn. Lin Xian's eyes flickered. He had already sensed that the flame restriction left in Hai Yu and Wan Gang's body was gone. This was also the reason why they dared to resist. Thinking about it, Wan Gang should be the same. But so what? Lin Xian's figure flickered and quickly flew towards the Wan family's residence. Ever since the flame in Wan Gang's body was removed, he was completely relieved. Now, his life was finally in his hands again. However, this made him gnash his teeth. As a genius of the Tianyang sect, when had he ever been threatened like this? Therefore, he couldn't wait to tear Lin Xian into pieces now. Wan Gang planned to use the power of his family to find Lin Xian, but he didn't expect Lin Xian to take the initiative to come to him. When Wan Gang saw Lin Xian in the Wan family's residence, he was shocked. But soon, he revealed a sinister expression. Damn brat, you actually dare to come? Lin Xian looked calm. Where are the spiritual herbs I want? Have you prepared them? Brat, you're courting death. Who do you think you are to dare to ask me to gather spiritual herbs for you? You even dare to put a flame restriction on me? Today, I'll make sure you don't leave. Wan Gang's expression was sinister. You still dare to be arrogant in front of me? It seems that your Wan family is not much. You're not well informed at all. If you knew the reactions of the other families, I'm afraid you wouldn't dare to talk to me like this now. When he heard this, Wan Gang frowned. What's going on? Could it be that the Shen family and the Hai family had submitted to him? What a joke! Although Lin Xian had some connections with the Bloody Blade Monarch, how could he make such a big family submit to him? This brat must be playing a trick. Wan Gang snorted coldly. Brat, don't waste your breath. If you dare to come here today, I'll make sure you don't leave. Men, take him down! With a roar, the surrounding martialists of the Wan family immediately rushed over. Young master, what's going on? Wan Gang's status in the Wan family was similar to Chen Rufing's. They were both sons of the family head. Therefore, his status was very precious. When they heard the order, the martialists of the Wan family appeared one after another. Wan Gang pointed at the figure in the field and said, Capture him. I want him alive. I want to torture him for 1,000 years. Yes, the surrounding martialists agreed. Then, they raised their heads and looked into the distance. Chapter 3166. They frowned. What's going on? How did this kid get in? They had no idea. However, since their young master had spoken, they had to take action. You guys go and take him down, a middle-aged man said in a deep voice. Immediately, 3 martial artists walked up. Their qi and blood surged in their bodies. With a monstrous power, they enveloped Lin Xian. You're courting death. Lin Xian snorted. Dozens of sword qi rushed out from his body and turned into a ray of light that shrouded the entire space. Pung pung pung. The 3 martial artists who attacked were instantly beheaded. Not only that, but the surrounding martial artists were also pierced through by the sword qi and nailed to the void. They let out miserable cries as their eyes were filled with fear. An expert. This was a peerless expert. The opponent could pierce through dozens of them in an instant. Such a person was too terrifying. They wanted to scream, but the sword qi still wiped out their lives. The only one who survived was Wan Gang. However, Wan Gang was also nailed to the void by 5 sharp swords. Blood flowed out and dyed his body red. Ah! Wan Gang let out a miserable cry. His scalp was about to explode. How could the opponent be so terrifying? To be honest, he knew that the opponent had some ability to make the Bloody Blade Monarch submit, but he did not expect the opponent to be so strong. The opponent killed dozens of his guards in an instant. The sword qi even pierced through him. He cultivated the Heaven Star body. It was so powerful. However, in front of the opponent, he was as weak as a piece of paper. Father! Save me! Wan Gang screamed like a madman. He knew that the person in front of him was not someone he could fight against. He had to call for the real experts. Boom, boom, boom. The Wan family was a big family after all. Therefore, what happened here spread to the entire Wan family. Whoosh! 7 or 8 figures descended. Each of them was extremely old, and brought about a powerful storm. They were the elders of the Wan family. When they came down, they saw dozens of martial artists' corpses on the ground. Their pupils constricted. Damn it! Someone dared to kill people from the Wan family? When they saw Wan Gong being stared at in the void and bleeding profusely, they instantly screamed. Young master! Wan Gang's identity was extremely precious. He was the son of the Wan family head. If there were no accidents, he would be the next Wan family head. But now, he was actually beaten to such a state. Nailed to the void. Damn it, who is it? It was this brat. When they saw Lin Xian, the 7 elders were instantly enraged. Go, kill him! A large hand, like a purple cloud of fire, covered the sky and enveloped the other party. A black longsword, exuding a biting cold killing intent, shattered the void as soon as it appeared, and pierced toward Lin Xian's head. A long saber cut through the void, as if it was going to cut Lin Xian in half. In an instant, these people attacked as if they had gone crazy. Boom! Lin Xian also made a move. A golden fist punched into the void. With a loud boom, the purple flaming hand was shattered. The black longsword shattered into pieces, and the berserk saber broke into 2 halves. The entire void exploded, and the 7 elders were instantly reduced to a bloody mist. Boom! This strike formed a huge black hole in the sky, as if it was connected to hell. Dead? The 7 elders were all dead. Wan Gong, who was at the side, widened his eyes. His lower body was wet from fear. To be honest, he never thought that the other party would be so powerful. Those were 7 elders. They couldn't even block a single punch from the other party? At this moment, the people who rushed over also saw this scene. They were instantly stunned on the spot, their bodies trembling. Demon! What kind of person is this? Not good. Hurry up and alert the others. Everyone screamed. The Wan family let out a loud bell, which would only be sounded when a life and death enemy came. They didn't expect that the Wan family would let out such a bell again after a few hundred years. A few hundred years ago, when a strong enemy came, the same thing happened to the Wan family. In the end, the Wan family settled it. They didn't expect it to happen again after a few hundred years. All the experts of the Wan family opened their eyes and rushed over. The surrounding formations lit up, and the killing formations shot into the sky. It could be said that the Wan family had become an impenetrable fortress. The patriarch of the Wan family even rushed over with the 10 elders. Father! When Wan Gong saw the patriarch of the Wan family, he screamed crazily. Father! Save me! Kill him! You must kill him! The patriarch of the Wan family's face instantly turned gloomy, and his eyes were filled with killing intent. The 10 elders also gasped. Hurry up and let Wan Gong go! Roars sounded like thunder from the 9 heavens, shattering the void. Buzz! Lin Xian's body burst with light, suppressing the entire area. All of the energy was blocked by him. Kid, let him go! Kneel down and accept your death. Cold shouts could be heard. How dare you behave atrociously in the Wan family? You're courting death. No one can provoke the Wan family. You'll definitely die. The Wan family can't be humiliated like this. The Wan family can't be humiliated. What about me? Am I the only one who can be humiliated? Lin Xian's eyes emitted a cold light. The strong couldn't be humiliated either. Wan Gong provoked me, so he'll definitely die. Don't tell me you don't understand this logic? Lin Xian looked ahead. Hearing this, the patriarch of the Wan family and the 10 elders' pupils constricted. At the next moment, they snorted. Kid, what kind of expert are you? That's right, in front of the Wan family, you're just an ant. Am I not an expert? Lin Xian sneered. In the next moment, his eyes lit up, and his figure disappeared. Not good. These people rushed out of their king domains as if they were facing a great enemy. Someone! Kill him! The patriarch of the Wan family roared. However, in the next moment, they screamed. That was because a figure appeared in front of them. The sword she emitted from his body was like a divine sword that pierced through them. Their king domains and battle armors were like pieces of paper. They couldn't withstand it at all. In an instant, the thousands of Wan family's experts were all pierced through. As for the 10 elders, they were all killed by Lin Xian with a single punch. Bang! Ah! Half of the patriarch of the Wan family's body was shattered. He gritted his teeth and activated a secret technique to dodge. After that attack, Lin Xian stood in the middle of the field. There was no one around him. Thousands of experts and 10 elders had all turned into a bloody mist. In the distance, more cultivators saw this scene and trembled. They directly knelt on the ground. The Wan family still had people, but they were much weaker than the thousands of experts from before. Even the 10 elders were killed in an instant, let alone them. Therefore, in an instant, everyone felt despair. Wan Gong was even more dumbfounded. His brain felt as if it had been struck by lightning. Impossible! Damn it! Impossible! The 10 elders? Where are you? The patriarch of the Wan family roared crazily. He discovered that the 10 elders were dead. Thousands of Wan family's experts were dead. How could he bear this? The Wan family relied on these people to support them. But now they were all gone. What would happen to the Wan family in the future? Damn it, how could this kid be so terrifying? The patriarch of the Wan family looked at Lin Xian, his body trembling. In the next moment, his expression became ferocious. Kid, I want you dead. Grand Elder Qing. Chapter 3167. A small red cauldron rushed out of his head and swayed in the sky. Endless runes enveloped the entire Wan family. In the next moment, in the depths of the Wan family, there was a loud bang and 2 thunderous roars. Then, a terrifying power, like a vast ocean, came from afar. Feeling this power, the Wan family warriors who were kneeling in the distance all raised their heads. The Grand Elders had come out of seclusion. The Grand Elders were coming. That kid was definitely dead. Wan Gong also came back to his senses and became excited. Kid, just wait for your death. Our Grand Elders have comprehended the power that is close to the Tao. You definitely won't be able to resist them. The Wan family's patriarch shouted to welcome the 2 Grand Elders. The 2 Grand Elders, one tall and one short, their clothes fluttered with a powerful and mysterious power. As soon as they appeared, they bent the void. They looked at the mess below, and were instantly enraged. The aura on their bodies erupted like a volcano, shooting into the sky. Damn it, who is it? How dare you kill the experts of my Wan family? Naturally, he could sense that over 1,000 experts had been wiped out. The surrounding blood carried a monstrous aura, causing the 2 Grand Elders to tremble all over. It's him. It's this kid. 2 Grand Elders, please make your move. The Wan family's patriarch pointed forward. What, a young man? In the sky, the 2 Grand Elders of the Wan family stared at Lin Xian, and their pupils shrank to the size of needles. They thought that a top old monster had come to their Wan family, but they didn't expect it to be a young man. Kid, go to hell! One of the Grand Elders roared. Kid, go to hell! The taller Supreme Elder let out a furious roar, shattering the void in all directions. Above his head, a star appeared. It floated up and down like the moon, and as soon as it appeared, it crushed the sky. The Wan family's patriarch retreated frantically and set up a formation to envelop the remaining people of the Wan family. He wanted to save Wan Gong, but he couldn't get close at all, so he could only give up. Now, he could only place his hopes on the 2 Grand Elders. He wasn't particularly worried. The 2 Grand Supreme Elders had both comprehended powers that were close to the Tao. One of them was the tall Grand Supreme Elder, who had comprehended the power of the stars. The other short Grand Elder is also very terrifying. He has comprehended the power of ice. At this moment, the stars in the sky flickered as if it was a real world of stars. It was incomparably vast, and a terrifying power surged towards Lin Xian. Die, brat! The tall Supreme Elder revealed a ferocious expression. Even a Peak King would not be able to withstand such power. Only a half-saint would be able to withstand it. Boom! The space where Lin Xian was standing instantly shattered, forming an incomparably deep black abyss. It was over! The short Grand Elder sneered. The others all let out a sigh of relief. Was this the power of a Grand Elder? Too frightening. Even such a terrifying Devil King was crushed in one move. Well, he was already dead. The Wan clan suffered heavy losses and needed to be reorganized. The tall Supreme Elder said in a clear voice. His body slowly descended, but just as he landed on the ground, he was stunned. All the hair on his body stood on end. This was because a figure walked out of the black hole in front of him. Was this your power that was close to the Tao? It was just SOSO. What? He wasn't injured? How was this possible? The tall Supreme Elder instantly soared into the sky, his eyes filled with shock. The other short Grand Elder was the same. The two of them were completely stunned. The faces of the Wan clan members in the distance turned ashen. They fell into despair once again. Was he still human? He should have been destroyed in both body and soul after being hit by a star that was close to the Tao. But there wasn't even a single crack on his body. What kind of physique was this? Perhaps even the top Big Dipper body of the Big Dipper sect couldn't compare to him. Brat, who are you? The tall Supreme Elder asked in shock. He realized that the other party was too strong, beyond his expectations. Such a person must have an extraordinary background. Lin Xian said arrogantly. You don't have the right to know my name. Now you should feel my power that is close to the Tao. He clenched his hand into a fist and punched out with the power of annihilation. Boom! 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 Everywhere it passed, the void was quickly annihilated. Not good. Feeling this power, the tall Supreme Elder's pupils constricted. He quickly blocked the star in front of him. At the same time, he frantically retreated. With a boom, the power of the star was directly turned into nothingness and disappeared in the void. What kind of power was this? It could actually dissolve my star power. The tall Supreme Elder was stunned. This brat had also comprehended a power that was close to the Tao. And it was very strong. It was very strange. Boss, let's attack together. He looked at the short Supreme Elder. The short Supreme Elder nodded. In the next moment, the two of them stood out. One was the power of the stars, the other was the power of ice. Two powers that were close to the Tao spread in the void and then attacked Lin Xian. Go to hell for me. This time, they were full of confidence. Sword! Lin Xian shouted coldly. The power of annihilation formed a pitch-black demonic sword that emitted a monstrous light. With a slash of the sword, the power of the stars was destroyed. With another slash, the power of ice also quickly faded away. Buzz! At the same time, a red light appeared in Lin Xian's eyes. With a boom, the two Supreme Elders screamed. Their bodies burned fiercely, and the flames engulfed them. Ah! Damn it! Increase the pressure. The short Supreme Elder screamed crazily and urged the power of ice to suppress the flames. But he realized that he could not do it at all. How was this possible? His power of ice was close to the Tao. What kind of flames could not be extinguished? Unless it was a flame that was close to the Tao. Moreover, that power was even more terrifying than his power of ice. Damn it, who was this brat? They were stunned. Boom! With a loud bang, the tall Supreme Elder self-detonated. He wanted to escape the flames, but he was still unable to do so. Lin Xian's power of fire was close to the law fragment. It was far from what these two Supreme Elders could resist. Thus, amidst the endless screams, the two utmost exalted elders were reduced to ashes. Dead? The Wan family head's eyeballs almost popped out. The other warriors of the Wan family all fainted from fright. Wan Gong was trembling all over. He was killed to the point of pissing his pants again. Those were two Supreme Elders. They grasped two powers that were close to the Tao. How powerful! But now, they were easily killed by the other party. Who was this person? He actually provoked such a demon king. Thinking of this, Wan Gong was extremely regretful. The Wan family had also had a face of despair. Now, he wished he could kick his son to death. This was an extremely terrifying demon king. It was very likely that his entire Wan family would be completely destroyed. What other trump cards does your Wan family have? Show them all. If not, you can go to hell. A cold light appeared in Lin Xian's eyes. Chapter 3168. No! The patriarch of the Wan family roared crazily. He wanted to beg for mercy. But he knew that the chances were slim. Experts had dignity. If someone came to the Wan family to behave atrociously, he would definitely destroy their entire family. Therefore, the other party would not spare them either. Just as the Wan family was in despair, the jade pendant on Wan Gang's body suddenly shone. In the next moment, Wan Gong cried out excitedly. Eldest senior brother is nearby. This jade pendant was the communication treasure of the Tiangang sect's core disciples. The eldest senior brother that Wan Gong mentioned was the top disciple of the Tiangang sect, the number one genius, Gao Ping. Therefore, sensing the jade pendant's reaction, Wan Gong sent a voice transmission crazily. Eldest senior brother, come save me! Someone wants to kill me! Wan Gong was very nervous. He looked at Lin Xian, afraid that Lin Xian would kill him at this time. However, he was stunned because Lin Xian did not kill him at all, nor did he stop him. He seemed to have tacitly approved of this. Damn it, what's going on? Isn't this kid afraid? Humph! How is that possible? No matter how strong he is, he can't beat eldest senior brother. Eldest senior brother is someone who can contend with the Nether King. Is Gao Peng coming? The patriarch of the Wan family and the other warriors of the Wan family regained hope in their eyes. Gao Peng was the number one genius of the Tiangang sect. How powerful was he? Although he had lost the battle at Tianqiong Peak, it was a glorious defeat. His reputation also swept across the entire Return Cloud planet very quickly. Although Wan Gong was young, only 500 years old, his strength might be even more powerful than the two Grand Elders. Thinking of this, the Wan family members became excited. Sure enough, not long after, a figure descended from the sky. It was a young man with a tall figure and a strong physique. He also had a mysterious aura. He descended like a god-fiend in the Wan family. But after landing, he frowned. The Wan family was too tragic. The entire Wan family was torn apart. Blood was everywhere, and it was still surging in the sky, emitting ghostly wails and wolf howls. It was obvious that a fierce battle had taken place here. Eldest senior brother, you're here! Save me! When Wan Gong saw that figure, he immediately shouted excitedly. The head of the Wan family hurried over to greet young Master Gao. Please save my Wan family, young Master Gao. Gao Peng frowned. Who is it? How dare he be so presumptuous? To be honest, Wan Gang's identity was really not ordinary. Speaking of which, he was Gao Peng's junior brother. He was also the closed-door disciple of the Tiangang sect's sect leader. The sect master of the Heavenly Dipper sect was very fond of him. Therefore, as the eldest senior brother, Gao Peng naturally had to take care of him. Seeing Wan Gong nailed to the ground and the Wan clan in ruins, Gao Peng was enraged. Not to mention the Wan clan's identity, just the fact that Wan Gong was a member of the Heavenly Dipper sect was enough for him to not interfere. In the next moment, he turned his head and stared at the figure in front of him. His eyes were filled with killing intent. It's you. Before he could finish his sentence, he saw Lin Xian's face in the next moment. He was stunned, and the murderous aura that filled the air quickly disappeared. It's you! This time, Gao Peng's voice had changed. What? You want to attack me? Lin Xian said indifferently. I wouldn't dare. Gao Peng hurriedly lowered his head and greeted Lin Gongzi. What? Seeing this, the head of the Wan family and Wan Gong were all stunned. What was going on? They felt as if they were dreaming. Their hope, Gao Peng, was actually bowing to Lin Xian? How could this be? They felt as if they had been struck by lightning. "Oh, you know me?" Lin Xian smiled faintly. Gao Peng lowered his head even more. Naturally, after the battle at Tianqiong Peak, young Master Gao's fame spread throughout the entire cloud-returning planet. Who didn't know him? To be honest, Gao Peng was a proud and confident person. However, in front of Lin Xian, he couldn't raise his head at all. He had no choice. The scene at Tianqiong Peak was still deeply imprinted in his mind. He probably wouldn't be able to escape from Lin Xian's shadow for the next 1,000 years. Lin Xian was someone who could easily defeat the Nether King. If he wanted to kill him, it would be a piece of cake. How dare Wan Gang and the Wan family provoke such a person? They even wanted to drag him down with them? Thinking of this, Gao Peng was furious. "Young Master Gao," the head of the Wan family said softly. Gao Peng shouted coldly, "Shut up!" The head of the Wan family was shocked. His body trembled, and he quickly shut up. Wan Gang, who was beside him, said, "Eldest senior brother, what's going on? Help me take revenge. He's the murderer." "Humph!" Gao Peng stood up and directly slapped Wan Gang to the ground. Half of Wan Gang's body was smashed. He fell to the ground with a dumbfounded expression. "Eldest senior brother, why did you hit me? Help me take revenge. I'm your junior brother." "Shut up. I don't have a junior brother like you," Gao Peng shouted coldly. "How dare you offend Lin Gongzi? It wouldn't be too much even if you died 100 times. Who is he? Who exactly is he? Eldest senior brother, why are you afraid of him? You're a top genius." Wan Gang screamed crazily, but soon, he was slapped again. Gao Peng said coldly, "If you want to die, don't drag me down with you. Lin Gongzi is so powerful. I'm no match for him, and I don't dare to make him my enemy." Gao Peng snorted when he saw the head of the Wan family and Wan Gang's confused expressions. They were indeed small families. They didn't even know who the other party was. If they knew, they wouldn't dare to be so arrogant. Gao Peng said coldly, "Do you know about the battle at Tianqiong Peak?" The two of them nodded silently. Gao Peng continued, "During the battle at Tianqiong Peak, Lin Gongzi defeated the Nether King and became famous. How dare you offend Lin Gongzi? Hurry up and kowtow and admit your mistake." "What?" The head of the Wan family and Wan Gang were stunned. During the battle at Tianqiong Peak, the other party defeated the Nether King? How was that possible? The one who defeated the Nether King was Lin Wudi. Wait. Lin Gongzi? Lin Wudi? The next moment, the two of them trembled. "You're Lin Wudi." Even if they were stupid, they knew it now. Thinking of this, their faces were filled with despair. Lin Wudi! They had offended Lin Wudi. No wonder the other party was so powerful. He had killed most of the Wan family's experts with a raise of his hand. No wonder Gao Peng had to be careful when he saw the other party. This was Lin Wudi, the supreme existence who had defeated the Nether King. The Nether King was so terrifying. He had appeared for a few days and suppressed the Cloud Return planet's geniuses until they couldn't breathe. Even Gao Peng had been defeated by him. That was such a powerful genius, but he was easily defeated by Lin Wudi. One could imagine how terrifying Lin Wudi was. The next moment, the two of them hurriedly knelt on the ground and kowtowed non-stop. "Lord Lin Wudi, we were wrong. Please spare the Wan family. Yes, 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 I have eyes and am not Mao Tai. I deserve to die." Wan Gang also kowtowed non-stop. His head was bleeding. However, he still didn't dare to raise his head. The Wan family's cultivators in the distance were in despair. Many of them were scared to death. Chapter 3169. Lin Xian said calmly with his hands behind his back, "I can spare the rest of the Wan clan, but the two of you will definitely die." Hearing this, the people in the distance heaved a sigh of relief. The head of the Wan clan and Wan Gang trembled, and their eyes were filled with despair. Gao Peng kept his head down, not daring to show any dissatisfaction. Lin Xian waved his hand, and two balls of flames enveloped the two of them, burning them to ashes. Wan Gang and the head of the Wan clan didn't even have the time to scream before they were killed. At this time, Lin Xian said coldly, "The Wan clan can be spared from death, but they can't escape punishment. I'll take all your clan's savings. Do you have any objections?" In the distance, the warriors of the Wan clan knelt on the ground and said respectfully, "No." How could they resist? The fact that Lin Xian didn't kill them was already the greatest kindness. As for the resources, they didn't dare to think about it now. Good. Lin Xian nodded. Then, countless golden hands rushed out of his body and took away all the resources and elixirs collected by the Wan clan. Then, Lin Xian flew up and left the Wan clan. After Lin Xian left, Gao Peng heaved a sigh of relief. It was too scary. Facing Lin Xian was like facing the ancestors of the Tiangang sect. Lin Xian was unfathomable, and he couldn't even breathe. But fortunately, this malefic star was finally gone. In the next moment, he also flew up, not even looking at the Wan clan. The remaining people of the Wan clan all heaved a sigh of relief. They felt like they had survived a disaster. However, no one noticed that the endless blood in the ruins of the Wan clan had flowed to the ground, leaving nothing behind. Deep in the ground, a withered, corpse-like figure was wrapped in endless blood. In the next moment, he opened his eyes, and a piercing light burst out, piercing through the void. Blood! I need more blood! Not enough! I can feel the screams of my descendants. And the screams! I want revenge! In the next moment, the bodies of those who were still alive in the ruins of the Wan clan suddenly split open and turned into a bloody mist. Then, it sank into the ground. This scene was so sudden that the people of the Wan family didn't even have time to react. They didn't even have time to scream before they were all dead. In the depths of the earth, the shriveled, corpse-like figure let out a devilish laugh. Lin Xian left the Wan family. As he flew, he sent his soul's spirit into the black earth and began to organize the spirit medicines he had obtained. To be honest, he had already collected almost all of them. There were still a few left, and he thought that the Qi clan would be able to help him. After treating the Shi family's old ancestor, he should be able to concoct the breakthrough Saint pill. Thinking of this, Lin Xian felt a burst of excitement. He wondered how the Qi clan's collection was going. Lin Xian then returned to Tianfang Pavilion. Tianfang Pavilion. Qi Siyu was still waiting. When she heard that Lin Xian had returned, she heaved a sigh of relief. She thought that Lin Xian had left again. After Lin Xian found her, he asked, "How's the Qi clan's collection going?" "Lin Gongzi, I was just about to talk to you about this," Qi Siyu said anxiously. "We've already collected 90% of them. There are still some spirit medicines left, and we should be able to complete it in a month's time." "All right." Lin Xian nodded. "I'll go into seclusion first. Call me when it's time." Lin Xian walked into the depths of Tianfang Pavilion and began his seclusion. This time, he didn't comprehend the Tao of heaven and earth. Instead, he cultivated directly to raise his cultivation. The Pill Sage's notes didn't only contain the breakthrough Saint pill, but also countless other elixirs. Lin Xian found a few that were suitable for him and concocted 10 cauldrons of them. After obtaining the purple abyss cauldron, Lin Xian's success rate and speed of concocting elixirs had greatly increased. In addition, he had an abundance of spirit medicines and resources. Hence, concocting elixirs was effortless. Soon, 10 cauldrons of elixirs were concocted. Lin Xian swallowed all of them. Boom! A rumbling power erupted from his body. Lin Xian activated the longevity incantation and absorbed the elixirs with all his might. A month's time passed in the blink of an eye. On this day, Qi Siyu ran into the depths of Tianfang Pavilion excitedly. She sent a voice transmission. "Lin Gongzi, it's done! Our Qi family has collected all the spirit medicines." After receiving the voice transmission, Lin Xian opened his eyes. The surging power in his body was like the waves of the sea. Then, he retracted it. The perfection stage. Lin Xian exhaled and stood up. He had absorbed all the elixirs that he had concocted previously. These elixirs were all ancient spirit medicines. In addition, he had used precious spirit medicines to concoct them. Hence, their effects were extraordinarily good. They actually allowed him to reach the perfection stage of the 9 stars realm in one go. Now, Lin Xian was only one step away from the half-saint realm. However, this step was like a natural chasm that stopped countless geniuses. One should know that there were many 9-star perfection stage experts in the world. However, those who could successfully cross this step and reach the half-saint realm were few and far between. It could be said that they were rare existences. After all, a large family like the Wan family could dominate a region with 2 people who had comprehended the power of Tao. If they had another half-saint, their strength would definitely be even more terrifying. However, it was extremely difficult to become a half-saint realm expert. To become a half-saint realm expert, time was not the only thing that could be solved. Some people had even used 2,000 years and still failed to successfully cross that step. Now, Lin Xian was finally facing this step. However, he was very confident. Not to mention that he had already comprehended 2 powers that were close to the Tao, one of which was very close to the precept fragment. In addition, his physical body had reached the half-saint realm. Coupled with the saint breakthrough pill, his cultivation could reach the half-saint realm. At that time, he would have 1 foot in the half-saint realm. As long as he comprehended the precept fragment, he would become a true half-saint. After that, his strength would undergo an earth-shattering improvement. Thinking of this, Lin Xian was incomparably excited. Now, Lin Xian was confident that he could fight a half-saint with the power of fire and the great dragon sword soul. After he became a true half-saint, how terrifying would his power be? He didn't dare to imagine. With a wave of his sleeve, Lin Xian removed the array and walked out. Lin Gongzi, you're finally out? Qi Siyu was waiting anxiously outside. When she saw Lin Xian come out, she was delighted. The next moment, she exclaimed, Lin Gongzi, your aura. What's wrong? Lin Xian asked. No, I feel that you're different. Qi Siyu carefully sensed but found that she still couldn't see the depth of Lin Xian's aura. However, she felt that Lin Xian's aura was more mysterious than before. Could it be that Lin Gongzi broke through again? Thinking of this possibility, she was extremely surprised and then shook her head. It couldn't be. How long had it been? Could he break through again? She had never heard of such a cultivation speed. Lin Xian said. Since they had finished collecting, let's go. He put his hands behind his back and walked out. The 2 of them directly activated the array and teleported to the Qi family. Chapter 3170. The Tianfang Pavilion was a subordinate of the Qi family, so there was a teleportation array inside. Soon, they arrived at the Qi family. At this moment, the elders of the Qi family were all waiting anxiously. When they saw Lin Xian and Qi Siyu, they all surrounded them. Siyu, you're finally back. Lin Gongzi, can we start now? These people were very excited. Lin Gongzi, how confident are you? To be honest, they weren't completely confident until now. Because Lin Xian was too young. It was hard for them to believe that he was so young. Lin Xian was very calm. Bring me the spiritual herbs. Soon, someone brought them over. Lin Xian waved his hand and let the spiritual herbs float in the air. He scanned them with his soul and nodded slightly. Yes, these are the herbs. Now I'm going to refine the pills. I'll prepare a secret room for Lin Gongzi. Qi Siyu said. Lin Xian shook his head. There's no need. It's fine here. I'll set up a few arrays. You guys stay far away. No matter what happens, don't disturb me. He's going to refine pills in public? A few people in the crowd exclaimed. Lin Xian turned his head and glanced at them. They were Pill King He Tu, Pill King Black Feather, and Pill King Red Lotus. In addition, there were many alchemists who came because of Lin Xian's reputation. After all, Lin Xian's claim that he could cure the Qi family's patriarch's injury had caused a stir in the alchemy world. Countless alchemists came one after another. They couldn't believe it. They had to see it with their own eyes. Pill King He Tu, Pill King Black Feather, and Pill King Red Lotus had arrived early. When they heard that Lin Xian was going to refine pills in public, they were very excited. This way, they would be able to see the depth of Lin Xian's alchemy skills. The other alchemists were also discussing. Isn't this kid too young? How old is he? How can he cure the Qi family's patriarch? Is he a liar? Who cares? If he's going to refine pills in public, we'll be able to see it soon. If he can't refine pills, the Qi family will punish him. How can he refine pills well? This young man was definitely boasting. One had to know that even a half-step alchemy sage could not refine it well, let alone him. The elders of the Qi family frowned when they heard those words. To be honest, they were also very worried. After all, these spiritual herbs were very precious, and their Qi family had paid a high price for them. If they failed, then not only would their old ancestors' injuries not be healed, they would also have wasted so many precious spirit herbs. However, they had no other choice now. They could only place all their hopes on Lin Xian. Lin Xian didn't care about what those people were thinking. He ordered Qi Siyu to let the surrounding people quickly retreat and make an empty space. 1. Lin Xian raised his hand and formed a formation that enveloped him. He took a deep breath, and a cold light burst out from his eyes. With a flip of his hand, a purple cauldron appeared in the air. Purple Abyss Cauldron. The surrounding alchemists all cried out in surprise. Their eyes lit up. Was this a pill cauldron that had been used by a half-step saint? He had actually obtained it. For such a precious cauldron to be in his hands, it was truly a waste of God's gift. Some of the alchemists were very unwilling to accept this. However, there were also some top alchemy kings who said coldly, "Waste of God's gift? That might not be the case. Don't forget that he too, Dan Yu, and Red Lotus, the three of them couldn't defeat him. One could imagine that he was definitely an expert. If you want to snatch the cauldron, think about your own fate first." When those words came out, it was as if a basin of cold water had been poured over everyone, and they all came to their senses. That's right. 3 Tier 9 Pill Kings couldn't do anything to him. They would be cannon fodder if they went up. Of course, there were also some who were unconvinced. Among them, a few Tier 9 Pill Kings snorted. So what if he's strong? We alchemists compete in alchemy skills. Let's see what qualifications this kid has to dare to say that he can cure the Qi family's old ancestors' injuries. When those words came out, everyone was puzzled. That's right, what kind of peerless pill could he refine? At this moment, everyone was nervously watching. He too, Heiyu, and Red Lotus, the 3 Tier 9 Pill Kings, held their breaths. Inside the formation. After Lin Xian took out the purple abyss cauldron, he raised his head and looked at the spirit herbs in the sky. At the same time, he quickly recalled the refining method of the Suyang Golden Crow pill. After going through it 10 times in his mind, Lin Xian felt that there was no problem, and then he started. With a wave of his hand, the spirit herbs entered the cauldron one by one. Then, Lin Xian's 9 sons' divine fire danced in his body and enveloped the cauldron. Lin Xian sat down cross-legged and started to refine the pill. The surrounding people waited patiently. 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. A month had passed. Lin Xian still hadn't finished refining. After all, he was refining a sage-level pill. It wasn't something that could be completed in a short period of time. However, a month was almost enough. Lin Xian opened his eyes and took a deep breath. With a wave of his hand, he threw a spirit herb into the cauldron. Buzz! At this moment, the cauldron trembled slightly. Not good. I'm afraid I'm going to fail. The Tier 9 Pill Kings outside exclaimed softly. The other alchemists also sneered. The members of the Qi family were extremely nervous. Lin Xian frowned. He reached out his soul and tried his best to control the cauldron. However, in the end, all the spirit herbs in the cauldron turned into ashes with a loud bang. Did he fail? Lin Xian frowned slightly and started to review the process. The members of the Qi family outside had ugly expressions. Failed. Damn it, why did it turn out like this? Qi Siyu's face was also pale. However, at this moment, the Qi family's patriarch said in a low voice. Even the best alchemists didn't have 100% success rate. Failing once wasn't a big deal. After hearing this, the members of the Qi family heaved a sigh of relief. Indeed, they knew that some pills were extremely difficult to refine, especially the pill that cured the Qi family's patriarch. It was even more precious. It was impossible to have a 100% success rate. It was estimated that a 10% success rate would be very high. Therefore, failing once didn't mean anything. However, they only collected 3 sets of spirit herbs. This meant that Lin Xian had 2 more chances. Could Lin Xian succeed in 2 tries? They didn't know. Their hearts were all in their mouths. The alchemists around them sneered. There was no way this kid could succeed. These pills were too difficult to refine. Moreover, they could tell that these were half-step saint-level pills. No matter how powerful this kid was, could he be a half-step pill saint? They all shook their heads and sneered. The 3 pill kings, He Tu, Heiyu, and Red Lotus frowned. What do you think? Pill King Heiyu asked in a low voice. Pill King He Tu frowned. We've never seen his alchemy technique before. It's not from Cloud Return Planet. Where did he learn it from? Although we've never seen it before, it's so complicated that even I can't handle it. Pill King Red Lotus smiled bitterly. He might really be refining a half-step saint pill. A half-step saint pill. Pill King He Tu took a deep breath. Chapter 3171. Although he was a top grade 9 pill king, he had no way of refining this kind of pill, because his strength was not up to par. However, this young man in front of him, who was nearly 1,000 years younger than him, could actually start refining the half-saint pill. Although he failed in the end, he maintained it for nearly a month. This meant that the other party's alchemy skills had far surpassed his. Thinking of this, the 3 pill king's hearts sank. He was really a rising star. No, he was a peerless genius. It turned out that this set of Roman flowers was put in too early. On the other side, Lin Xian finally found the reason for his failure. He took a deep breath again and started refining again. At his level, refining for a month was nothing. He even saw in the pill saint's notes that some pills took hundreds of years to refine. Those pills had spirituality and could fight on their own. For now, Lin Xian could only look at such a mythical pill. Right now, he only needed to refine this pill. The second time, the refining began. Another month had passed, and everyone's hearts were in their throats. Because the last time, it failed at this time. They wondered if he would succeed this time? Many pill refiners were paying close attention. The Qi family members were also extremely nervous. Qi Siyu clenched her fists tightly. Su Chen seemed very calm. After all, he had already found the reason for his failure. Therefore, after putting it in this time, there were no abnormalities. Next, it was almost time to wrap it up. After more than a month, the pill had basically taken shape. Lin Xian was going to do the final condensation. However, he could not let his guard down. After all, there were many pill refiners who failed at the last step. Lin Xian followed the experience provided by the pill saint's notes carefully. Finally, another 10 days passed. With a bang, a rumbling sound came from the pill furnace. Following that, countless rays of light spewed out, and a fragrance wafted over. Even through the array formation, everyone felt refreshed. Many people even felt the power in their bodies boiling. Could it be that he had succeeded? Everyone widened their eyes in disbelief. The Qi family members were so excited that they almost fainted. Those pill refiners looked as if they had seen a ghost. Impossible! A few top grade 9 pill kings screamed. How could he have succeeded? That was a sage-level pill. Indeed, these alchemists were about to faint from fright. The other party was able to refine a half-step saint's pill. Didn't that mean that the other party was a half-step pill saint? Thinking of this, their bodies trembled. The 3 pill kings, He Tu, Heiyu, and Red Lotus, had a change in expression as well. Half-step pill saints were like seniors in their alchemy world. They had to pay their respects when they saw him. Did he succeed? The old ancestor of the Qi clan held onto his walking stick, his body trembling. A smile appeared on his wrinkled old face. Finally, his injuries could be healed. After 300 years, he was finally going to recover. Thinking of this, the Qi family patriarch smiled. Lin Xian waved his hand and a golden elixir appeared in the void. The golden pill had a mysterious pattern on it that resembled the texture of a tree. From afar, it looked like a golden crow lying on top of it. Success! Lin Xian grabbed the pill in his hand and removed the array formation. In the next moment, he looked at the people of the Qi clan. The other people's eyes were red. They were too excited. They didn't think that Lin Xian would really succeed. From the discussion of the surrounding pill kings, they already knew that Lin Xian had refined a half-step saint's pill. He knew how difficult it was to refine it. He estimated that none of the pill kings present could refine it successfully. However, Lin Xian succeeded. Didn't that mean that the other party was a half-step pill saint? Thinking of this, the people of the Qi clan were shocked. Such a young half-step pill saint was helping them. It seemed that the heavens had opened their eyes. Qi Siyu was also excited. Lin Gongzi, you really succeeded? That's great. She looked at the Qi family patriarch. At this moment, the patriarch threw away his walking stick. His body trembled slightly, and his turbid eyes burst out with a piercing cold light. It was like a divine lamp that pierced through the 9 heavens and 10 lands. Was Lin Gongzi really cured? The Qi family patriarch seemed to be in disbelief. He wanted to confirm it again. Lin Xian nodded. That's right. He was cured. He threw the pill in his hand to the patriarch. Swallow it. This pill can heal your injuries for 300 years. The Qi family patriarch's hands trembled when he received it. He suppressed the excitement in his heart and said in a low voice, I'm going into seclusion. Activate the array and don't let anyone disturb me. Whoosh! He turned into a ray of light and rushed into the depths of the Qi clan. The Qi family patriarch's elders quickly took action. One array after another lit up, especially the depths of the Qi clan, which was surrounded by dozens of large arrays. Obviously, they would not allow any accidents to happen to the Qi family patriarch. The area around Lin Xian and the others was also enveloped by the formation. The Qi family patriarch looked at Lin Xian with excitement. They quickly walked up to him. Thank you, Lin Gongzi. If the patriarch's injuries can really be cured, the Qi family will definitely thank you. Lin Xian nodded. There was a reason why he helped the Qi family patriarch. That was because he needed the Qi family to help him collect the remaining spirit herbs. However, it was not the time yet. When the Qi family patriarch walked out again and recovered from his injuries, he would make another request. But now, he looked at the surrounding pill kings. The surrounding pill kings felt their scalps go numb. Previously, they had mocked the other party, thinking that he was too young and would not succeed. However, they did not expect that he would really succeed. However, there were also some who were stubborn. It was just that he had succeeded. Now, they could not be sure that the Qi family patriarch's injuries could be cured. However, as soon as he said that, the surrounding people quickly left, afraid that they would be implicated. Some people even sneered. Idiot! That's a half-step pill saint. How dare you be so arrogant? As expected, those who mocked him broke out in cold sweat. That's right, that's a half-step pill saint. So what if he could not be cured? Would they dare to offend him? Thinking of that, their intestines turned green with regret. With a plop, they knelt on the ground and kowtowed non-stop. Most of the surrounding pill masters walked up respectfully and bowed to Lin Xian. Greetings, senior. They had no choice. Although they had lived for 1,000 or 2,000 years, and some had even lived for close to 3,000 years, they were all old monsters. However, in terms of alchemy, they were far behind Lin Xian. Therefore, even if Lin Xian was very young, they still had to address him as senior and bow to him. Lin Xian naturally knew these rules, so he gladly accepted them. Whether it was martial arts, alchemy, or other things, strength was the most important. Age was simply ignored. Lin Xian's gaze swept across the surrounding pill masters and finally landed on the three people in the distance. Are the three of you convinced now? Chapter 3172. Hearing this, he too, Heiyu, and Hong Lian, the three ninth-grade pill kings, let out a wry smile and hurried over. They said respectfully. They were convinced, sincerely convinced. Young master is far better than us in alchemy. We have prepared the things that we promised you. Please accept them. As they spoke, the three of them respectfully took out the 3 stalks of spiritual herbs that they had prepared. Lin Xian's lips curled up into a smile when he saw the 3 spirit herbs. He kept them and nodded slightly. Seeing that Lin Xian had no intention of blaming them, he too and the other 2 pill kings heaved a sigh of relief. Fortunately, although they had fought with the other party previously, they were not too arrogant. Instead, they had made an agreement today. If they had used their seniority to fight against the other party with their status and strength as pill kings, they would have died. They would have gone to hell. Next, they just had to wait patiently. Lin Xian stood there with his hands behind his back, looking into the distance. The others also waited quietly. Just like that, 15 days passed. In the depths of the Qi family, there was a sudden burst of energy, like a flash flood, sweeping in all directions. A long roar turned into a thunderclap, piercing through the void. Buzz! A figure rose into the sky, like a demon god, standing in the void. The aura that he emitted had mysterious low runes, making it hard for people to breathe. This was a law fragment. Heavens, the Qi family's patriarch. The Qi family's patriarch's strength had recovered. The alchemists were shocked. The Qi family's elders were overjoyed. They knelt on the ground, cheering loudly. Congratulations to the patriarch! Congratulations to the patriarch! Ha ha! The Qi family's patriarch looked up to the sky and laughed. He was too happy. It had been 300 years, and his vitality was almost gone. In another 10 years he would have died. But now, he had completely recovered. Not only that, he was confident that he could live for a few thousand years. To him, this was a huge surprise. Finally, he had regained control of that power. The Qi family's patriarch walked forward. He did not remove the law fragment on his body. Instead, he walked in front of everyone like a god. The supreme martial artists trembled, and the alchemists held their breaths. They felt like their scalps were about to explode. Qi Siyu was also kneeling on the ground. The only one left standing was Lin Xian. He clasped his hands behind his back, and a mysterious light flowed around his body, blocking the pressure of the nomological fragment. The Qi family ancestor was stunned. He didn't think that Lin Xian would be able to block the law fragment. Old Master Qi, how do you feel? Has he fully recovered? Lin Xian asked indifferently. Lin Xian did not care about the law fragments released by the other party. His fleshly body was already at the half-step saint level, so the law fragments were still unable to pose a threat to him. Unless it was a true law. Moreover, he wasn't afraid that the other party would go back on his word. If he could cure the other party, he could also take the other party's life. Seeing how calm Lin Xian was, the Qi family's ancestor was shocked. To be honest, from the beginning until now, he still couldn't see through the young man before him. This young man was too mysterious. Perhaps the other party had a shocking background. The old ancestor of the Qi clan took back the law fragment and smiled. He had completely recovered. This was all thanks to Lin Fan. If Lin Fan has any requests, feel free to let me know. The Qi family will definitely satisfy them. Alright, I won't stand on ceremony then. Lin Xian raised his hand and threw out a jade slip to the Qi family's ancestor. The Qi family's ancestor looked at it and nodded. No problem. The Qi family can help you collect these spiritual herbs. Give me a month's time. With that said, the Qi family's ancestor handed the jade slip to the elder beside him. Collect these spiritual herbs within a month's time. After the elder took the jade slip and probed it with his soul spirit, he gasped. Although there weren't many spiritual herbs, they were extremely precious. Its value was comparable to the Crimson Sun Golden Crow pill from before. However, they didn't have any objections. Firstly, the orders of the ancestor were unquestionable. Secondly, Lin Xian had cured the injuries of their ancestor. No matter what price they had to pay, they were willing to pay. You don't have to worry about the spiritual herbs. Lin Fan, why don't you have a drink with me? The Qi family's ancestor smiled. All right, I'll do as you say. Lin Xian and the Qi family's ancestor walked into the distance side by side. The alchemists outside were extremely shocked. Some of the top elixir kings looked at the figure in the distance with envy. At the same time, they decided to wait here. 5 days later, Lin Xian came out from the depths of the Qi family. When he saw that He Tu, He Yu, Red Lotus, and the other elixir kings were still there, he was extremely puzzled. Is there anything else? The 3 elixir kings, Red Lotus, He Tu, and He Yu, knelt respectfully on the ground, seeking guidance from the senior. When the other elixir kings saw this scene, they also knelt on the ground and bowed respectfully, seeking guidance from the senior. They had no choice. They had been Tier 9 elixir kings for a long time. Some had been there for hundreds of years, while some had been there for thousands of years. However, they were still unable to take that step. They couldn't even improve. If they couldn't improve, it would be worse than killing them. Hence, these people were about to lose all hope. When they saw that Lin Xian had such attainments in alchemy at such a young age, they naturally looked forward to it. Hence, they hoped that Lin Xian would be able to teach them a thing or two. Lin Xian nodded slightly. All right, since I have nothing to do, I'll teach you for 2 days. You only have 2 days. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me. Thank you, Senior. He Tu and the other top elixir kings were overjoyed. They hurriedly asked all the questions that had been bothering them for hundreds and thousands of years. Lin Xian, on the other hand, answered calmly. His attainments in alchemy were already very strong, not weaker than these Tier 9 elixir kings. In addition, he had studied the elixir saint's notes, causing his attainments in alchemy to improve by leaps and bounds. Now, he had already reached the half-step elixir king realm. Hence, guiding these Tier 9 elixir kings was not difficult. 2 days passed very quickly. These Tier 9 elixir kings were reluctant to leave. In these 2 days, listening to Lin Xian's explanations was equivalent to 500 years of bitter cultivation. It was true that listening to a gentleman's words was better than reading 100 years of books. After that, these elixir kings left. However, Qi Siyu came. She accompanied Lin Xian to the nearby mountains and rivers, sightseeing in the scenic spots and historical sites. Just like that, a month passed. Lin Xian had also gathered all the spiritual herbs that he needed. When Qi Siyu handed a storage ring to Lin Xian's calm heart also became excited. Until now, all the herbs that he needed had been gathered. He could finally start refining the Saint Breakthrough Elixir. The Saint Breakthrough Elixir was also a half-step Saint Elixir. It was not easy to refine. He needed to go into seclusion for a while. However, after refining the Qiyang Golden Crow Elixir previously, Lin Xian also had some experience in refining a half-step Saint Elixir. After bidding farewell to Qi Siyu, Lin Xian left the Qi family. He rose into the air and flew into the distance. He wanted to find a place with rich spiritual veins to refine elixirs in seclusion. However, after flying for about a day, Lin Xian frowned. He felt as if there was a pair of eyes watching him in the dark. Chapter 3173. This wasn't the first time he felt this way. He had felt it once when Qi Siyu had accompanied him on a tour. However, he hadn't been able to find it. Now, he felt it again. With a cold snort, Lin Xian stopped in his tracks and scanned the surroundings. His powerful soul power covered a radius of tens of thousands of miles, but he still couldn't find anything. Buzz! Lin Xian flew again. This time, his speed was even faster. After 3 days, he stopped again. In the past 3 days, he had felt 2 more instances of being peeped at. Especially on the 3rd day, the other party seemed to be more and more unscrupulous. Who's sneaking around? Come out! Lin Xian roared and turned into 9 heavenly lightning, descending in all directions. Ha ha, little kid, I didn't expect you to be so alert. You even found out! An old voice sounded. The void shattered and a figure walked out. This person was too strange. He was skinny like a mummy. His clothes were tattered and there were clods of dirt on it. It looked like he had crawled out from an ancient tomb. Lin Xian's pupils shrank when he saw the other party. What a terrifying aura! This person's aura was much stronger than Gao Peng and the Nether King. It was similar to the aura of the Qi family patriarch. Half-step sage. This was a half-step sage. A half-step sage was hiding his head and showing his tail? You're a disgrace to the half-step sage. Lin Xian sneered. Little kid, you know I'm a half-step sage? Why aren't you kneeling and kowtowing? The mummified old man revealed a sinister smile. Fragments of the precepts rushed out from his body and surrounded him, making him look like a god. Just you? Lin Xian's eyes were filled with disdain. You've followed me a few times before, but you didn't dare to come out when I was in the Qi family. Even the Qi family patriarch was afraid of you. What right do you have to threaten me? Lin Xian's guess was right. The old man who followed him was this old man. However, he was in the Qi family's territory. On the other hand, the Qi family had the Qi family's patriarch, a half-step saint. Therefore, it was inconvenient for this mummy-like figure to make a move. Brat, at that time, I just didn't want to fight with that old ghost from the Qi clan. Do you really think that I'm afraid of him? As for you? You dare to insult a half-saint? You can die now. As he spoke, a huge palm descended from the sky with a terrifying aura. 1. The palm fell and pierced through the void. Lin Xian dodged and went to another space. Old man, do you really think that I'm afraid of you? Lin Xian's sword chi became more and more piercingly cold. Tens of thousands of streams of sword chi were released, causing the entire sky to tremble. How dare a half-saint who is almost at the end of his life be so arrogant in front of me? I'll kill you today! At this point, a terrifying energy suddenly erupted from his body and swept out in all directions. The withered half-saint's face also darkened. Since you dared to behave atrociously in the Wan clan and even killed the experts of the Wan clan, I'll skin you alive today. You're from the Wan clan. This time, Lin Xian was stunned. He had just returned from the Wan clan. He didn't expect the Wan clan to have a half-saint expert. It seemed that the half-saint was in seclusion before this. Moreover, the half-saint didn't have much vitality left. It seemed that the half-saint was an ordinary existence. Was it the remaining members of the Wan clan who woke you up? Lin Xian frowned. He had spared some of the Wan clan's members. He didn't expect them to be so reckless. They even dared to wake up the half-saint of the Wan clan to kill him? It seemed that the Wan clan didn't need to stay in this world anymore. There was no need to go to the Wan clan to find them. I'm the only one left in the Wan clan. I've absorbed all of them. The patriarch of the Wan clan was like a demon. His killing intent was monstrous. Indeed, the remaining members of the Wan clan had all turned into blood mist and were absorbed by him. As long as I'm here, I can find one Wan clan, 2 Wan clans, or even countless Wan clans. The patriarch of the Wan clan was very confident. He was a half-saint. With him around, it was very easy to rebuild a clan. I can feel that your physical body has powerful blood qi and exuberant vitality. Now it's mine! The patriarch of the Wan clan rushed out. Obviously, his target was Lin Xian. To be precise, it was Lin Xian's body. Boom! The patriarch of the Wan clan charged out like a god of death. Lin Xian let out a long roar. The starry sky trembled. Countless sword qi accompanied by flames descended from the sky. In an instant, Lin Xian activated the power of fire. It was useless. The patriarch of the Wan clan laughed loudly. The clouds in the sky churned, forming a cloud hand that carried the law fragments. The terrifying energy was like a vast ocean. With a slap, all the sword qi in the sky were shattered. A mere power that was close to the Tao was nothing in front of him. Cloud Cave. The patriarch of the Wan clan snorted coldly. The Cloud Law fragment danced, forming an inexplicable killing intent that instantly blasted onto Lin Xian's body, sending Lin Xian flying. Boom! Lin Xian was sent flying for hundreds of thousands of miles, crashing into the mountains and rivers below. But soon he flew up. His body shone brightly like the sun. A half-sage? That's all there is to it. He's not injured. This time, the patriarch of the Wan clan was stunned. Your body has already reached the half-sage realm? Ha ha! I didn't misjudge you. I must obtain your body. He was too excited. He didn't expect the other party to have the body of a half-sage. However, from the looks of it, the other party hadn't comprehended the law fragments yet. He could easily kill such a person. Little kid, I don't have time to waste with you, so you can die now. Cloud Fiend. Soul Destruction. The Cloud Law fragment descended and wrapped around Lin Xian. At the half-sage realm, he could easily pass through the physical body and use the law to kill the other party's soul. The Cloud Law? It's just a fragment. It can't do anything to me. Lin Xian let out a long roar. The dragon sword soul in his body let out a loud dragon roar. Then, it merged with the power of fire. Originally, Lin Xian's power of fire was very close to the law fragment. Now, with the power of the dragon sword soul, its power increased by several times. After all, the dragon sword soul was an offensive saint art. Therefore, at this moment, the power of fire rose infinitely and blocked the Cloud Law fragment. Boom! The two collided, producing tens of thousands of thunderous sounds. The entire sky was destroyed, turning into a land of destruction. It's useless. You can't block it. The patriarch of the Wan clan walked forward. He wanted to collect Lin Xian's body, but when he got close, the Wan clan's half-sage was stunned. Because he realized that Lin Xian wasn't dead. Instead, the aura on his body was becoming more and more terrifying. Impossible! Damn it, how can you block the law fragment? You clearly only have the power of the Tao. The patriarch of the Wan clan's expression changed for the first time. Although the law fragment was only a fragment, it had surpassed the power of the Tao. Chapter 3174. However, the other party had blocked it. How was that possible? What kind of treasure did he have? Was it a half-saint artifact or a saint artifact? No, a mere half-saint artifact couldn't do anything to a true half-saint unless it was a saint artifact. Kid, it seems like you have a secret in your body. The Wan family's patriarch could clearly feel that there was an extremely terrifying aura emanating from Lin Xian's body. It caused the surrounding power of fire to rise endlessly. Although it wasn't a law fragment, its power was no different from a law fragment. I've said it before, a half-saint at the end of his life is no threat to me. Lin Xian walked over like a god of war. His eyes shone with a cold light. He waved his finger, and countless sword chi interweaved with the power of fire. It quickly formed a flaming lotus and charged forward. Stupid ant, how dare you look down on me? The Wan family's patriarch was furious. He emitted an extremely terrifying aura. His tattered Taoist robe also trembled rapidly. He was like a ghost, rushing forward quickly. The law of clouds brought with it a powerful force. He slapped out with his palm and collided with the flaming sword. The two exploded with shocking light. At that moment, Lin Xian used the Annihilation Sword Lotus. A black lotus flew out with the power of annihilation. Together with the Dragon Sword Soul, its power doubled. Boom! This time, it directly hit the Wan family's patriarch and sent him flying. Damn it! Two powers that were close to the Tao. The Wan family's patriarch flew back from hundreds of thousands of miles away. His body was trembling with anger. He was a half-saint, but he was sent flying by a junior. If word got out, how was he going to survive? Kid, you've completely angered me. The Wan family's patriarch roared. His originally withered body suddenly expanded. His withered cheeks and gray hair also rapidly changed. Soon, he turned into a middle-aged man with a heroic bearing. Cloud pushing palm. With a loud shout, heaven and earth trembled. The clouds turned into a huge palm that covered a radius of millions of miles and descended from the sky. After transforming, not only did the Wan family's patriarch become younger, but his power was also more terrifying than before. The law fragment carried a shocking power and enveloped Lin Xian. Lin Xian's pupils constricted, and his blood and qi almost froze. He moved quickly. However, this palm covered a radius of several million miles. It was simply too vast, and he couldn't leave it completely in a short period of time. Therefore, he could only let out an angry roar and push his divine body to the extreme. At the same time, the great dragon sword spirit combined with the power of fire to form the Nine Suns' divine fist and soared into the sky. Boom! The mountains and rivers below shattered the void, turning into a pitch-black space that devoured everything within a radius of a few million li. Moreover, it did not disappear for a long time. He should be dead this time, right? The patriarch of the Wan family slowly descended from the sky. However, he was stunned once again. A touch of coldness appeared on his face, and a deep shock appeared in his eyes. He wasn't dead. He saw a figure below. His qi and blood were like dragons. His body shone with boundless light, like a sun. He stood there, suppressing the heaven and earth. Old fellow, I've said it before. A half-saint like you is unable to do anything to me. Lin Xian's body shone with boundless light. The sword qi around him formed a powerful domain that enveloped him and blocked this astonishing attack. Buzz! With a roar, he waved his fist and struck out with the Nine Suns' divine fist. At this moment, Lin Xian did not hold back. The power of the Nine Suns' divine body, the power of the great dragon sword spirit, and the power of fire all combined. The Nine Suns' divine fist struck out consecutively. It was as if 18 suns were spinning in the sky. They fought against the ethereal fragments of the law of clouds of the Wan family. Lin Xian's power was as strong as Yang, while the Wan family's patriarch's power was incomparably ethereal. When the two collided, it was as if the world of Yin and Yang was torn apart in the sky. The great void of millions of li had just recovered when it collapsed again. It was too terrifying. Who exactly was it? The kings of the distant cities all lay on the ground when they felt this astonishing power. This was the power of laws. Was it a saint? No, it should be a half-saint. Two half-saints were fighting. Heavens, who was it? Everyone was shocked. However, they could not resist this power at all, let alone investigate. Lin Xian and the Wan family's patriarch fought from the sky to the ground. Everywhere they went, everything turned into ashes. The two of them fought for 3 days and 3 nights, but there was no winner. Lin Xian's qi and blood were like dragons. Although he was not a true half-saint, his strength was not weaker than a half-saint. The Wan family's patriarch was so angry that he vomited blood. What was going on? He could not do anything to the other party. Could it be that his qi and blood were not enough? The Wan family's patriarch's face was cold. He was indeed a lamp that had run out of oil. He was able to revive this time because he had absorbed the blood of countless descendants of the Wan family. However, it seemed that the blood he had absorbed was not enough. Otherwise, how could he not be able to defeat the other party? Therefore, they wanted to retreat. On the other side, Lin Xian let out a long roar and became one with his sword. The great dragon sword spirit completely enveloped him and turned into the shadow of a dragon. It carried 2 types of power that were close to the Tao and kept burning. In an instant, he pierced through the void and crashed into the Wan family's patriarch. With a bang, the Wan family's patriarch was torn into pieces. Ah! The Wan family's patriarch screamed as he retreated into the distance. His expression was extremely ugly. He was injured. His body was actually shattered by the other party. Ah! He could not accept it. He pulled out a long spear and charged out again. The long spear waved, carrying the nomological fragments. It was incomparably ethereal as it pierced through the 9 Yang divine body. The divine body was extremely terrifying. Although it was pierced by the long spear, it did not shatter. Instead, it clamped the divine spear formed by the nomological fragments. At the same time, the dragon-shaped sword in Lin Xian's hand, coupled with the two types of power that were close to the Tao, split the Wan family's patriarch in half. The Wan family's patriarch was scared out of his wits and hurriedly fled. If this continued, he would be the one to lose in the end. After all, the other party's vitality was vigorous and his qi and blood were monstrous. Although he looked powerful, the qi and blood in his body had long withered. Whoosh! He was so frightened that he soared into the sky. Brat, just you wait. I will definitely not let you off. The Wan family's patriarch escaped. He wanted to slaughter millions of living beings to recover his qi and blood. Then, he would kill the other party and seize Lin Xian's body. Seeing the Wan family's patriarch escape, Lin Xian did not stop him. Firstly, he was also injured. Secondly, he had more important things to do, which was to refine the Breaking Saint pill. As long as he finished refining the Breaking Saint pill and entered the half-saint realm, killing the other party would be as easy as slaughtering a dog. Fine, I'll let you live for another 2 days. Lin Xian turned around and left. After Lin Xian and the Wan family's patriarch left, countless figures descended from the distance. They looked at the ground that had been destroyed beyond recognition and sucked in a breath of cold air. This was the power of the nomological fragments. This was the blood of half a lifetime. Their bodies trembled when they saw this scene. Buzz! The sky shattered, and an old figure descended. Instantly, countless people were so scared that their scalps went numb. They hurriedly knelt down. Chapter 3175. An old man descended from the sky with a beautiful woman beside him. It was Qi Siyu and the old man from the Qi family. The Qi family was not far from here, so the battle here finally caught the attention of the Qi family patriarch. Patriarch, are half-saints fighting? Qi Siyu, who was beside him, asked curiously. The Qi family patriarch sensed the power of the nomological fragments in the sky and the blood of a half-saint. He nodded. Yes, it was indeed a half-saint. However, he wondered which half-saint it was. There was an aura that was familiar. He sensed the remaining sword qi between heaven and earth, and immediately narrowed his eyes. Could it be? A figure appeared in his mind. It was a young figure. It was because of this person that he was able to recover. But it shouldn't be. He didn't believe that this person had such strength. Could he really fight with a half-saint? When you go back, find out where Lin Gongzi went. Yes, Patriarch. Qi Siyu was very puzzled, but she still respectfully agreed. On the other side, Lin Xian left. He chose a very secluded place and sank into the ground below. Then, he set up countless array formations. With these array formations, even a half-saint wouldn't be able to detect his traces. In the next moment, he summoned the black earth and went inside. After all, he couldn't be disturbed while refining the Saint Breakthrough Pill. Lin Xian spent a month to recover his body and reach the peak. Then, he began to recall the process of refining the Saint Breakthrough Pill. Whoosh! He began to refine the pill. With the experience of refining a half-saint pill, Lin Xian was much more proficient this time. However, even so, he still failed twice and succeeded on the third try. Then, he swallowed it. In the blink of an eye, a year had passed. In this year, many things had happened. After the battle on Tianqiong Peak, Lin Wudi became famous. There was also a storm in the alchemy world. A young half-step alchemy saint cured the Qi family patriarch, shocking the continent. The Qi family also changed. The Qi family patriarch recovered from his injuries 300 years ago and returned to the Jianghu. The Qi family's power increased greatly. They conquered the east and west, and their territory expanded several times. For a time, they were in the limelight. But at the same time, Cloud Returning Planet had another matter that made people's hair stand on end. A remote city was destroyed in a single night. The tens of millions of cultivators in the city were massacred. Not even their corpses remained. A total of 77 cities were turned into ghost cities. Countless experts were annihilated. The area where the 77 cities were located also became a ghost region, and no one dared to step into it. This was because anyone who entered would immediately turn into a bloody mist and be absorbed by the mysterious existence. For a moment, everyone was terrified. That place had also become a forbidden area. Even if someone at the consummate level of 9 stars entered, they would instantly shatter, unable to escape. Did you know? It was rumored that there was a demon living there, and its strength was extremely terrifying. King-level cultivators would definitely die if they entered. Damn it, how could such a demon appear? He had heard that the 77 cities were quite good and had countless resources. There were even a few top-grade spirit veins in them. They wouldn't be given away just like that, right? Just wait and see. Those people from the big families will definitely not let this matter rest. Sure enough, there were people who went to attack the areas where the 77 cities were located. But soon the news came. The 6 big families had joined forces, but they were completely annihilated. No, there was still one person who came out alive. He was a grand elder who had comprehended a power that was close to the Tao. However, at this moment, his entire body was shattered, and he was on the verge of death. His entire body was as thin as a bag of bones. He only said 2 words when he came out and fell to the ground dead. A half-step sage. Everyone's scalps went numb. A half-step sage. There was actually a demon-like half-step sage inside. As soon as the news spread, it swept through the entire continent. Those big families also fell silent. What a joke! They did not dare to provoke a half-step sage. However, they didn't dare to do so, but some of the top families and sects sent their experts. Next, that area was filled with ghostly wails and wolf howls. Gloomy winds blew, and light shot into the sky as if the world was about to be destroyed. Everyone within tens of millions of kilometers saw it. Everyone knew that it was a battle between half-step sages. The light lasted for 10 days and 10 nights before finally disappearing. No one knew what the outcome was, but everyone only knew that they still could not enter that area. They would die if they entered. It's over. Even a half-step sage can't do anything to the demon inside. What should we do? However, following that, the situation also changed a little. It was just that the ghost realm formed by the 77 cities was no longer so terrifying. Some powerful people could enter. It was just that they did not dare to enter the innermost area. At the same time, some top geniuses from outside the realm came. They heard of this strange place, so they decided to investigate it. These top geniuses from Cloud Return Planet were naturally unwilling to fall behind and entered one after another. Firstly, they could not lose to the other geniuses from outside the realm. Secondly, they also wanted to go in and gain experience. After all, from the current intelligence, as long as they did not enter the innermost area, there should not be any danger to their lives. After all, many of those who hurried over were people who had comprehended a power that was close to the Tao. For a time, this ghost realm became the focus of everyone's attention. There was a barren mountain endlessly far away from this ghost realm. The spiritual energy here was very sparse. It could be said that there were not even many demonic beasts here. Martial artists would even less come here. However, at this moment, the barren mountain shook violently as if an earthquake had occurred. Huge cracks began to spread in all directions. Eventually, the entire barren mountain was completely torn apart. Following that, a figure appeared. This was a handsome youth dressed in red robes, sitting there cross-legged. At this moment, there were mysterious runes flowing on his body like patches of flames. But that aura was much more terrifying than the flames. Above his head, a large crack opened, forming a black vortex. Endless energy poured into his body frenziedly. If a king saw this scene, he would definitely be scared silly. If a 9-star paragon was poured in by this energy, he would probably directly explode and die. But the youth below did not feel anything. It was like an abyss black hole, mercilessly absorbing. This scene lasted for a month before it was completed. Buzz! The youth opened his eyes. 2 piercing beams of light pierced through the void. In the next instant, A surge of terrifying power surged out of his body. This power was much more terrifying than a king's, reaching an inconceivable level. Was this the cultivation of a half-sage? The red-robed youth was none other than Lin Xian. He had successfully refined the breakthrough Saint pill and swallowed it. After endless cultivation, he finally completely absorbed the breakthrough Saint pill, causing the phenomenon just now. His cultivation had also reached the half-saint realm. Whoosh! Too powerful! Lin Xian's current power was much stronger than before. But it was not over yet. He was still a little short. Lin Xian felt that he was not a true half-sage yet. Chapter 3176. Sure enough, not long after, the black vortex in the sky disappeared. Endless thunder clouds condensed and formed. These lightning bolts seemed to have descended from the starry sky beyond the sky, very terrifying. With a bang, a bolt of lightning descended from the sky. Lightning punishment. Carrying the destructive aura of lightning, possessing the power of laws, it finally came. Lin Xian took a deep breath. After making it through this lightning tribulation, he should be able to condense true law fragments. Buzz! He was not afraid. Instead, he directly charged forward. Bang! The entire place was drowned as if it was the end of the world. Fortunately, there were few signs of human habitation here. Otherwise, they would definitely be scared silly. But even if there were few people, this destructive aura and power still attracted the attention of some martial artists. It was just that the power of this lightning was too terrifying. They did not dare to approach at all. A few bold ones were struck flying by lightning before they even got close. Lightning tribulation, someone was transcending tribulation. Everyone was terrified. It wouldn't be some genius powerhouse, right? Many people looked at the space enveloped by lightning in front of them, bewildered. But no matter how they guessed, they could not guess who it was. Furthermore, this power was too terrifying, right? Even if they were tens of millions of miles away, they still felt a chill run down their spines. So terrifying, it had already lasted for a month, but this lightning tribulation actually had not disappeared yet. Who the hell was transcending tribulation? Could it be that he had already been struck into ashes? Those young martial artists were puzzled. However, those older generation figures shook their heads and sighed. Impossible, the person was about to die. The lightning tribulation would have long disappeared. The current situation showed that the person inside was still transcending tribulation. But which major figure was it? This lightning's destructive aura exceeded this old man's several hundred years of cognition. It wouldn't be an immortal manifesting, right? Many people exclaimed. It was rumored that there were immortals in this world. Perhaps an immortal had descended on Cloud Return Planet. The moment these words came out, many people directly knelt on the ground to worship. A month later, the signs of the lightning tribulation weakened. Another half a month later, it finally disappeared. It was just that everyone still did not dare to go forward. Because just that remnant aura was enough to kill them. Even people at the grand completion of 9 stars did not dare to go forward. However, the terror of this place did not deter these people. Instead, more and more martial artists gathered here, kneeling and worshipping here. But on this day, they were stunned. Because they discovered that a figure walked out in front. It was a young figure. Holy shit! Who is this kid? How dare he go in? Was he not afraid of being killed? Impossible! The remnant power of the lightning was so terrifying, how could he be unharmed? These people were stunned. The older generation figures were bewildered. That wasn't right. They had never seen anyone enter before. Who was this person? Could it be that he had walked out from inside? Could it be that he was the one undergoing the tribulation? Impossible! How could such a terrifying lightning tribulation be caused by an old monster that had lived for thousands of years? How could it be caused by a young man? These older generation experts couldn't understand. The person who walked out was Lin Xian. After going through the thunder tribulation, he had finally transformed the power of fire into fragments of the law of fire. He was now a genuine sage to be. Before reaching the half-saint realm, he could already contend with a half-saint. Now, Lin Xian was confident that he could kill the patriarch of the Wan family with one punch. Why are there so many people? After coming out, Lin Xian frowned slightly as he looked at the surrounding cultivators who were constantly kowtowing. Kid, how did you get in? That's right. Why are you unharmed? Tell me your secret. Many people surrounded him with ferocious expressions. In their opinion, he must have a treasure on him. Lin Xian snorted coldly. His eyes darkened as a terrifying aura surged out. He was now a sage-to-be. The aura he released was naturally the aura of half a lifetime. Suddenly, all the cultivators were pressed to the ground by the aura, trembling. The few people who had spoken arrogantly earlier were so scared that they fainted. Senior, please spare our lives! Everyone exclaimed. The older generation figures were also trembling. In their opinion, this was not a young man. He was definitely an extremely terrifying old monster. Lin Xian retracted his sage-to-be aura and asked indifferently. What happened recently? Senior, in the past 2 years, the Qi family has become very powerful. Their strength is several times stronger than before. It is said that the Qi family's patriarch has recovered from his injuries. An old man hurriedly spoke. Lin Xian's eyes flickered as he nodded. This matter was within his expectations. He asked, Is there anything else? Also, recently, many geniuses from outside the domain have arrived on Guiyuan planet. Many of them have comprehended power that is close to the Tao. Oh? It seems that more and more geniuses from outside the domain have arrived. The old man continued. These geniuses from outside the domain and the local geniuses of Guiyuan planet have all entered the ghost realm. What is the ghost realm? Lin Xian asked. He had never heard of the ghost realm before. Senior, this ghost realm was formed in the past 2 years. 2 years ago, the cultivators in the 77 cities mysteriously disappeared. The place where the 77 cities were locked formed the ghost realm. Anyone who entered would be turned into ashes. Rumor has it that there is a sage-to-be inside. Inside, there was a monstrous bloody light that carried an extremely strong murderous aura. Later, a sage-to-be entered and fought. However, they had no choice but to retreat in the end. However, the sage-to-be demons in the movies were not as arrogant as before. They could enter some places. However, they still could not enter the core area. Those geniuses from outside the domain went to the ghost realm. Ghost realm? Blood? Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. He thought of the sage-to-be from the Wan family. Moreover, he guessed that it was most likely the doing of this sage-to-be from the Wan family. What a reckless thing. He was about to die, yet he still caused so much carnage. Lin Xian asked in a deep voice. Where was the ghost realm? Fly west from here. The place where the bloody light covered thousands of miles was the ghost realm. The old man said. It seemed that it was time to understand. Lin Xian soared into the sky. Previously, when he fought with the Wan family's patriarch, both sides were injured. At that time, in order to break through, he did not chase after the other party. He did not expect that the other party would use such cruel methods to recover his strength. Now that he had broken through to become a true sage-to-be, he naturally could not let the other party off. Inside the ghost realm, the bloody light overflowed into the sky, and the ghost chi was awe-inspiring. On the other hand, it was a peaceful scene outside. This huge contrast was frightening. But at the same time, it also attracted countless cultivators to come and search for treasures. After all, there were countless experts in each of the 77 cities. After they died, they left behind a large number of cultivation techniques and treasures. It could be said that there were 77 treasure vaults. Therefore, even though they knew the danger, they were still greedy, causing these people to move forward recklessly. Of course, those who were weaker could only search outside. Even 9-star kings did not dare to get too close. They could only search in the outermost cities. Only those who had comprehended the Tao would dare to move forward. On this day, a figure descended from the sky. Chapter 3177. That should be the ghost realm, right? That figure was Lin Xian. He came to the vicinity of the ghost realm with flickering eyes. Sure enough, the surrounding blood-chi was surging, and ghosts were wailing and wolves were howling. Obviously, countless creatures had been killed, and their resentment was monstrous. Not only that, but he was also able to sense a familiar aura from it. The Cloud Law fragment. It was indeed the half-step sage of the Wan family. It seemed that the half-step sage of the Wan family should be cultivating in seclusion. Buzz! Lin Xian walked directly inside. His speed was very fast. He turned into a long rainbow and flew quickly into the distance. The people on both sides of the road were extremely shocked when they saw this scene. Who was that kid? How dare he fly so fast? Did he want to die? It seemed that he was a reckless guy. There was a monstrous murderous aura inside, as well as some vengeful spirits and blood demons. Even a perfected 9-star cultivator would not barge in like that. How dare a kid like him do that? Just wait and see, he would definitely die within 3 seconds. However, these people were soon dumbfounded and almost knelt on the ground. That was because they realized that the other party was completely fine. The surrounding blood demons and vengeful spirits were directly torn apart by the other party. Wherever the other party passed, nothing dared to approach. He turned out to be a super expert. A top-notch genius. He must be a top-notch genius. Otherwise, it would be impossible for him to be so powerful. Oh God, did another top-notch genius enter? It was going to be lively inside. These people were no longer looking down on him. Instead, they were amazed. Lin Xian's speed was so fast that there were not many people wherever he passed. Generally, those who were weak would not be able to enter, but suddenly he made a sound. There were people in front of him. It seemed that those people should be the top geniuses or peerless powerhouses. There were many people in front of him, but they did not move. Instead, they were confronting something. Lin Xian's arrival also attracted the attention of these people. One by one, the figures turned around. When they saw Lin Xian, they were extremely surprised. What a young person! Who was that person? They discussed. Lin Xian also looked over. His gaze lingered on these people for a second, then he no longer paid any attention to them. Instead, he looked ahead. No wonder these people had stopped. It turned out that there were many blood demons and resentful spirits in front of them. It seemed that the half-step sages of the Wan clan had not only killed countless experts, but also turned these people into blood demons to protect them. He could see that the 77 cities and the ghost realm had formed a 10,000 ghost formation. Another person who didn't know the difference between life and death had arrived. A blood demon in front snorted coldly. He was wearing blood-red armor and was 5 meters tall. He looked like a demon king. When he spoke, the surrounding space trembled. There was a rune between his eyebrows that emitted a mysterious aura. This was a rune left behind by the Wan family's old ancestor. It caused the blood demon's aura to be no weaker than the peak experts around him. In fact, it was even stronger. After Lin Xian landed, he frowned. Although the blood demons and vengeful spirits ahead were terrifying, with so many top-notch experts here, would they not be able to defeat them? So he asked, "Why? You don't dare to make a move? Brat, what do you know? Try it if you have the ability. That's right, how dare you look down on us?" There was an extremely terrifying formation here, and it was set up by a half-step sage. It could be said that it was the laws of heaven and earth. In this law, they could not attack in groups. They could only fight one-on-one. Otherwise, do you think we won't make a move? Those top prodigies rolled their eyes as if mocking Lin Xian's ignorance. They did not know that Lin Xian had already seen through it at a glance. This was a 10,000 ghost formation. Lin Xian continued. One-on-one? So what? If you can't even defeat a mere blood demon, you'd better make way for me. This place is not suitable for you. It's too dangerous for you. Hurry up and go back. Lin Xian waved his hand and walked forward. Damn brat, you're courting death. How dare you? Get lost. Those top prodigies were instantly enraged. Many of them were top prodigies who had rushed over from outside the realm. They had all comprehended a power that was close to the Tao. Wherever they went, they were admired by tens of thousands of people. Now they were being looked down upon. How could they endure this? Immediately, a terrifying power surged out and filled the sky. However, Lin Xian did not fear this. He crossed his hands behind his back, not caring at all. The several top prodigies in front coldly snorted. Boy, if it weren't for the law of this array formation, then you wouldn't have been able to withstand our pressure. You dare to tell me to get lost? I think you should screw off first. A man stepped forward. This man was tall and his body exuded a blood-infernal aura. He was also extremely tyrannical. There was a good show to watch. No one thought that Shui Man would actually attack. That boy was absolutely dead. Shui Man was extremely terrifying. He came from blood-refining planet and was said to have worshipped a half-step sage as his master. Moreover, what he cultivated was the blood-infernal Tao. His aura matched the surrounding aura. Here, he would not be suppressed. Instead, he would be able to enhance himself. That boy could have provoked anyone, but he had to provoke a ruthless master like Shui Man. It was likely that he would die without a corpse remaining. The surrounding prodigies sneered, all of them looking on as if they were watching a play. Lin Xian looked at the figure in front of him, his eyes flashing. He came from blood-refining planet? And he worshipped a half-step sage as his master? This reminded him of not too long ago when he had casually killed a little ant. In the next moment, Lin Xian lightly asked, "What is your relationship with Lone Wolf?" "Lone Wolf? That is my junior apprentice brother. How do you know him?" Shui Man frowned. Lone Wolf had already left blood-refining planet for a long time. He had said that he wanted to come to Cloud Planet for revenge. However, several years had passed and there had been no news of Lone Wolf. This caused Shui Man to feel that something was wrong. Now that he heard this from Shui Man's mouth, he was immediately enraged. "It seems that you know something about my junior apprentice brother. Be a good boy and tell me. I can give you a quick and painless death. He was already killed by me because he provoked me. Just like you are now. So if you want to live, then kneel down, kowtow, and get the hell out of Cloud Planet. Otherwise, your fate will be the same as his." Lin Xian was now a true half-step sage. How could he allow someone close to the Tao to provoke him? "You are courting death. If you want to kill me, then go to hell first." Shui Man gave a loud shout, and an endless blood-red light bloomed from his body. In the next moment, he instantly turned into a monstrous demon king. A blood-red spear appeared in his hands. The Tao of Slaughter! As this spear thrust out, the entire space trembled. The surrounding sea of blood began to surge towards him. It was over. That boy had really died. Here, Shui Man's combat strength was far greater than in the outside world. Not only did he comprehend the Tao of Slaughter, but he had also comprehended the power of slaughter. Shui Man was absolutely a killing god. This was a mere power that bordered on the Tao. Lin Xian shook his head and punched out. This fist was like a sun, blooming with divine light, filled with a destructive strength. Chapter 3178. With a bang, all of the blood-red light was completely shattered. Not only that, but the crimson spear was also shattered into pieces. What? How could this boy be so strong? The surrounding proud children of heaven's faces all changed. Shui Man's pupils shrank. This was bad, he had to hurry and retreat. But it was already too late. Lin Xian's palms stretched out. It was like a five-fingered mountain, firmly locking him in place. "Stop! You cannot kill me! I am the disciple of Ancestor Shui Pao. My master is a half-saint. If you kill me, my master will never let you go." "Ancestor Shui Pao? A half-saint? Humph, if he dares to come find me, then I'll kill him too." Lin Xian didn't care. "Damn it!" Shui Man screamed like a madman. He galvanized his strength that was close to the Tao to resist. But he discovered that he simply couldn't resist. Lin Xian had completely surpassed him. He couldn't even block a single move. He knew that he had offended someone that he couldn't afford to provoke. In the next moment, with a thud, he fell to his knees. I was wrong, please forgive me. The surrounding proud children of heaven's eyes nearly popped out of their sockets. This was Shui Man. Amongst them, he was an extremely powerful existence. But now, such a person was actually kneeling and begging for mercy? Now he knew how to kneel and beg for mercy? Too late. I gave you a chance a moment ago, but now you can't. A half-saint had the dignity of a half-saint. Not just anyone could provoke them. As Lin Xian spoke, he didn't show any mercy. With a loud bang, Shui Man was turned into a bloody mist. Ah! Shui Man's body instantly exploded, but his soul managed to escape. Not only that, but his soul held a blood-red jade pendant. The jade pendant emitted a monstrous half-saint aura. Then, a hazy figure appeared. It was a blood-robed old man. His body emitted a monstrous killing intent, extremely terrifying. A half-saint phantom. Many proud children of heaven cried out in alarm. They felt their blood freeze. Obviously, this was a half-saint phantom that had been left in Shui Man's body to save his life in a moment of crisis. 1. As this half-saint phantom appeared, it stared at Lin Xian. Who dares to harm my disciple? Kneel and accept your death. He stretched out a monstrous blood-red hand and viciously slapped towards Lin Xian. You want to fight me with a mere phantom of a half-saint? Lin Xian snorted coldly, and a wisp of sharp, flaming sword light appeared at the tip of his finger as he slashed forward. Pooh! The blood-red half-saint phantom was slashed into two, and then it was incinerated by monstrous flames and transformed into ash. Impossible! How could you possibly destroy my master's illusion? Shui Man's soul was stunned in the air. His final life-saving method had been destroyed, and it had been easily broken by this opponent. Who was this person? With a swoosh, his soul was destroyed by the sword. Lin Xian turned his head and looked around. Instantly, the surrounding geniuses began to tremble, and many of their faces turned pale. They were done for. They had provoked a god of death. This was a truly terrifying expert. So sorry, we failed to recognize Mount Tai. Please forgive us, young master. A few of the older generation experts hurriedly apologized. They had lived for countless years and knew when to submit and when to stand tall. Now they naturally had to beg for mercy. As the geniuses from other realms heard this, their bodies shook. They quickly said, Sorry, young master, please spare our lives. As they said this, they didn't dare to believe it. How proud were they? But now they had no choice but to bow their heads. I'll spare your lives this time. Lin Xian coldly snorted. Then, he looked ahead at the blood demons and resentful spirits. In the next moment, he walked forwards. The tall blood demon issued a fierce roar. Boy, you're courting death. A saber slashed down like a river of blood, causing the skies to split open. However, Lin Xian didn't retreat. As the saber slashed down on his body, it emitted a heaven-shaking sound, but he wasn't injured at all. Whoosh! He arrived in front of the blood demon, his aura capable of swallowing mountains and rivers. Horrifying flames appeared on his body, as if they would burn the entire world. Ah! The blood demon in front of him emitted a pitiful cry, and soon turned into a pool of blood. The surrounding resentful spirits were also affected, and they screamed crazily. They had no choice. They were yin beings, and they were most afraid of yang energy. Lin Xian's 9-yang divine body was extremely terrifying. In addition, he now had a fragment of the law of fire. This yang energy was definitely not something that the blood demons and resentful spirits could resist. Who exactly are you? The resentful spirits screamed crazily. They were the souls of the people who had died in the 77 cities. They had been refined by the Wan family's patriarch with a secret technique, and they still retained their intelligence when they were alive. At this moment, they were screaming crazily because they had never seen such a terrifying person. I am Lin Wudi. Get the Wan family's patriarch out here. Lin Woody! Hearing this, many people around trembled, and their eyes were filled with shock. He was actually Lin Woody. Thinking of this, they felt a lingering fear. The geniuses from other realms were puzzled. Who exactly was he? He was an extremely terrifying top genius who had defeated the Nether King in the battle at Heaven's Vault Peak. The Nether King! The geniuses from other realms were shocked. The Nether King was also a top genius in the Outer Realms, and he was even stronger than them. They did not expect that he would be defeated by the other party. However, some people frowned. That was not right. Even if he defeated the Nether King, he could not fight against the half-sage. Where did he get his confidence from? The native powerhouses of Cloud Return Planet were also very puzzled. Could it be that the other party had called their master this time? In their opinion, for Lin Xian to possess such strength, there must be a terrifying family, clan, or holy land behind him. Perhaps this time, it was the Grand Elder or Patriarch of his family's sacred ground who had made a move? You want to see my master? You'll have to get through me first. I don't care if you're Lin Woody or Zhang Woody. Go to hell today! A terrifying roar came from ahead. Then, the ground trembled, the void shattered, and a terrifying figure walked out. This figure was extremely ferocious. His entire body was made of resentful spirits. It seemed that he had used millions of resentful spirits. Every head was extremely ferocious and twisted. On the outside, there was a blood-red armor made of endless blood that firmly imprisoned these resentful spirits. On the armor, there were mysterious runes that flickered with a demonic power. The surrounding top geniuses swallowed their saliva. How terrifying! Fortunately, they did not act rashly just now. This new monster was too terrifying. He had far surpassed them and was almost a half-sage. Would this brat be able to withstand it? For a moment, their gazes turned to Lin Xian. Boom! The monster in front of him roared loudly. Endless resentment surged into the sky as if it was going to tear the entire world apart. He struck out with his palm, and a monstrous wave of blood erupted with an incomparable killing intent. I have a sword that can cut through the 9 heavens. Facing such a terrifying monster, and the surrounding 1,000 ghost array, Lin Xian stretched out a hand and said coldly. Chapter 3179. In the next moment, endless flames danced on his body, condensing into a flaming long sword in his hand, emitting a brilliant light. This is? The expressions of the surrounding prodigies all changed. The pupils of those older generation figures also constricted abruptly. What a terrifying flame aura! Retreat quickly! They quickly retreated and watched from afar. The monsters and wraiths in front all trembled uneasily, letting out frenzied roars. The surrounding 1,000 ghost formation also seemed to be enraged, operating crazily. For a time, the front was wailing like ghosts and howling like wolves, like demons from hell. Kill! Terrifying monsters, countless blood demons, and wraiths that filled the sky all charged over crazily. The flaming long sword in Lin Xian's hand also slashed down. At this moment, Lin Xian became incomparably terrifying, like a sword god. The long sword in his hand bloomed with resplendent light as it slashed down. The void shattered, and all the wraiths and monsters were reduced to ashes. The entire 1,000 ghost formation was split apart by a sword. A crack appeared in the ground, spreading into the distance. This sword split the entire ghost domain apart. Behind, those outer realm prodigies almost fainted from fright. Damn it, who the hell was this person? How could there be such a terrifying monster on Cloud Return Planet? If they knew, they wouldn't have come even if they were beaten to death. Those powerhouses on Cloud Return Planet were also terrified. They racked their brains but could not figure out which family or sacred ground the other party was from. Outside, those martial artists who were still wandering around the ghost domain also screamed. They discovered that the ghost domain in front of them suddenly split into 2 halves from the middle. Endless flames shot into the sky. The ghost domain was split apart. Someone screamed, and everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. What? Impossible, right? They had deeply experienced how terrifying the ghost domain was during this period of time. Even a half-sage could not do anything to it. But now, it was actually split apart. Who the hell was it? Could it be that a saint made a move? Inside the ghost domain, Lin Xian split apart the thousand ghost formation with a sword. Then, his gaze was like a magic lamp, looking ahead. Old ghost of the Wan family, still not coming out? Do you want me to personally drag you out? Damn it, who is it? How dare you disturb my cultivation? A terrifying sound rang out, and the void continued to shatter. The surrounding top prodigies also vomited large mouthfuls of blood. The power of a half-sage. Not good, retreat. They retreated as if they had seen a ghost. Although they were geniuses from outside the realm and local powerhouses, they had only comprehended a power that was close to the Tao. Compared to a half-sage, he was still far from it. Therefore, they couldn't fight against a half-sage. No matter how many people of them they were. They could only keep retreating. However, Lin Xian did not retreat. Instead, he walked forward. With every step he took, a flame would rise from his feet. In the end, the flames in the sky burned all of the ghost chi. What a pretentious prick. You were already at the end of your tether, but in order to increase your strength, you didn't hesitate to slaughter millions of living beings. You deserve to die. I let you escape last time, but I won't let you escape again this time, Lin Xian said coldly. Hearing the last sentence, the surrounding skybride's eyes almost popped out of their sockets. He escaped last time? Could it be that this kid had already fought with a half-sage before? Heavens! They almost fainted from fright. In the depths of the ghost domain, the Wan family's patriarch screamed as if someone had stepped on his tail. Damn you, kid! With a boom, he broke through countless voids and appeared in front of everyone. At this moment, the Wan family's patriarch had turned into a middle-aged man. His muscles were bulging, and his blood was monstrous. Obviously, the blood of tens of thousands of powerhouses had allowed him to recover. The Wan family's patriarch was surrounded by a sea of blood, which turned into armor and enveloped him. A blood-red longsword appeared in his hand as he stepped into the air step by step. Kid, it's really you. Don't worry, this time, I will definitely send you to the 18th level of hell. I'm no longer at the end of my rope. I've recovered to my peak. Following his roar, the void within 1,000,000 miles shattered, and the entire world turned into a blood-red sea. In the sky, blood-red clouds appeared and shrouded everyone. This is my world. I am the ruler of this entire world. A king could use a domain, while a sage could use a world. In this world, a sage's laws were the ruler. Although a half-saint was unable to form their own world, they still far surpassed the domain. What the other party said was right. In this cloud-like space, the Wan family's patriarch was the ruler. The surrounding martial artists were so scared that they shivered. They knelt on the ground, shivering. Even the geniuses of the outer realms were in despair. They could feel law fragments dancing between the heavens and earth. They simply couldn't resist. It was over. They might really die here. They were incomparably regretful. However, some people said, "No, we still have a glimmer of hope. That is the person in front of us, Lin Woody." Yes, he was Lin Woody. He had defeated the Deep King and killed Shui Man. Perhaps he had a way to deal with the Wan family's patriarch. What a joke! He was only from the younger generation. At most, he had comprehended a strength that neared the Tao. How could he possibly contend with a half-saint? Do you know what the power of a law fragment is? Some people shook their heads, their faces filled with despair. They weren't optimistic about Lin Xian's chances. In front of them, Lin Xian looked up at the sky. He saw a figure with a monstrous blood energy. He sneered. Recovered to his peak? So what? His opponent's strength had risen, but so had he. Now, he had become a true half-saint. He even had the confidence to contend with a saint. Much less his opponent. Ha! Boy, you are too arrogant. I admit that you are strong. Although you are only a perfect king and have comprehended a strength that nears the Tao, you are still able to contend with me. But that is only when I am at my weakest. 2 years ago, I had just awakened and my strength was very weak. But now, I have already reached the peak. Compared to before, my strength has undergone earth-shaking changes. I can slap you to death with a single hand. Don't worry. Once I grab your soul, I will let you experience 100 reincarnations. And your mortal body will be mine. The Wan family's patriarch had recovered to his peak. His killing intent soared to the heavens, unstoppable. It was as if he could control everything. With a loud bang, as his voice fell, an incomparably ethereal blood-red palm came crashing down from the skies. Above this palm were fragments of cloud law. It was as if the heavens were falling, impossible to stop. Boom! 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 As soon as the palm landed, all the cultivators within 1,000,000 miles were sent flying. Regardless of whether they were the older generation or the geniuses from the outer realm, they were all sent flying. They couldn't withstand it at all. Their bodies were shattered, and they vomited large mouthfuls of blood. Only after retreating a few million miles did they heave a sigh of relief. It was too terrifying. Was this a half-saint? With just a casual strike, the storm was enough to seriously injure them. If they were hit head-on, they would probably die even if they had 100 lives. It was over. That Linwoody was probably going to die. That was for sure. A half-saint was too strong. He couldn't withstand it. Everyone was in despair. Chapter 3180. In the face of such a terrifying attack, Lin Xian's eyes shone with a cold light. Interesting. Today, I'll use you as a test. Endless flames erupted from his body. Each one jumped like a fire dragon, roaring non-stop. There was an extremely terrifying aura on it. With a boom, he punched out with the 9 suns' divine fist. It was as if the sun was rampaging in the sky. The two collided in the sky, and the void within millions of miles shattered. Everyone was sent flying again. There was chaos in front of them, as if the end of the world had happened. Amidst countless terrified screams, the blood-colored hand quickly shattered. A golden fist shot into the sky, illuminating millions of miles of mountains and rivers. As for the Wan family's patriarch, he was sent flying like a kite. Blood splattered in the sky. This was the blood of a half-step saint. It easily pierced through everything, causing the ground to sink and endless black holes to appear. Lin Xian's body bloomed with flames. He was like a god of war. He charged forward domineeringly, and his cold voice resounded throughout the world. Who said that you're the only half-step saint? Millions of miles away, countless geniuses raised their heads and looked at this scene, dumbfounded. This scene was deeply imprinted in their minds. Even after 1,000 years, they could still recall it clearly. Finally, someone broke the silence. A scream rang out. The half-step saint was sent flying. Heavens, how did he do it? What did he say? Who said that you're the only half-step saint? Could it be that he's also a half-step saint? No way. How could he be a half-step saint at such a young age? He was Linwoody. Wasn't he someone who was close to the Tao? How did he become a half-step saint now? Screams rang out crazily. They weren't familiar with Lin Xian. In fact, they might not even recognize him if they met face to face. However, the name Linwoody resounded like thunder in their ears. Because previously, Linwoody had defeated the Nether King, and his name had shaken the entire cloud-returning planet. However, Linwoody was only a genius who was close to the Tao at that time. But now, he had become a half-step saint. This speed of advancement was too fast, wasn't it? If word got out, it would probably scare a group of grand elders to death. Ah! Damn brat, I'm going to kill you! In the distance, a figure soared into the sky, roaring crazily. His body was covered in blood light, and his black hair fluttered in the wind. He was the Wan clan's ancestor. He was injured. He was actually injured by a young man's punch. Impossible! Damn it, how is this possible? 2 years ago, he had fought with the other party and was injured by the other party at that time. However, at that time, he had just woken up and was like a lamp without oil, so he couldn't use his strength at all. Now, he had already recovered to his peak. However, the outcome was still the same. In fact, it was even worse than the situation back then. He was actually injured by a single punch. He couldn't believe that the other party's strength had increased even more than his. How was this possible? No, that's impossible. I don't believe it. How could you possibly be a half-saint? It had only been 2 years since they last met, and he had already become a half-saint? Even the patriarch of the Wan clan had never seen such a cultivation speed before. He guessed that Suchin must have swallowed some medicinal pills to forcefully increase his cultivation. Such a person couldn't be compared to a true half-saint. The next moment, he opened his mouth and spat out a cloud of mist. Whoosh! The cloud of mist continued to expand, enveloping the entire world. Countless figures of the Wan clan's patriarch appeared in all directions. Each of them was incomparably real. They carried the power of the precept fragments. The people who were watching the battle from afar were terrified. What kind of divine ability was this? How could he create so many clones? Furthermore, each of them was carrying fragments. Which one was the real one? They couldn't see clearly at all. Ha ha, kid, go to hell now. Countless clones moved together in the sky and on the ground, making it impossible to distinguish between the real and the fake. Lin Xian snorted coldly. A golden light appeared in his eyes and swept in all directions. However, in the next moment, he was slightly stunned. He couldn't see through it for a while? So what? No matter how powerful the other party's secret technique was, it was useless. 9 Yang Divine Sword, illuminate mountains and rivers. With a long roar, boundless flames formed a divine sword in Lin Xian's hand. The long sword swept across, illuminating millions of miles of mountains and rivers. At this moment, every space between heaven and earth was filled with flaming sword chi. Countless half-step sage clones were enveloped by all the sword chi. In the next moment, these clones were completely pierced through. None of them escaped. With a bang, a figure was sent flying. It was the Wan family's patriarch's true body. His face was filled with shock. Damn it, how was this possible? His divine ability had been broken through by the other party's sword chi again. This was too powerful. With a slash of the sword, there was no way to hide within 1,000,000 miles. Cloud Spear! The Wan family's patriarch roared. A cloud spear appeared in his hand and directly pierced out. Buzz! The cloud spear disappeared without a trace. Kid, the cloud is ethereal and traceless. Let's see how you block it. Indeed, the Wan family's patriarch's cloud law was so ethereal. Not only was his speed extremely fast, but his movement technique was also strange. His attacks were also extremely strange. Buzz! On Lin Xian's left, the void shattered, and a long spear pierced over. Bang! It sent Lin Xian flying. It hit! Countless people exclaimed. The Wan family's patriarch's lips curled into a smile. Hee, kid, I knew that you wouldn't be able to block my technique. Before he could finish his words, his body began to tremble because he realized that Lin Xian had returned once again without any injuries on his body. How was this possible? It couldn't pierce through? How could your physique be so strong? The Wan family's patriarch was stunned. So what if the other party had the body of a half-step sage? How could he not shatter the other party's attack? Lin Xian sneered. Sorry, you didn't hit me at all. Indeed, the moment the long spear was about to pierce him, he directly sent it flying with his sword. Since I've taken so many of your attacks, then you should take one of mine too. Lin Xian's eyes shone with a piercing cold light. He stared at his opponent. In the next moment, he waved the light sword in his hand, and it turned into a golden river of flames that surged out. The terrifying heat wave could melt everything in the world. The sword was like a fire dragon, roaring incomparably. Everyone was shocked. That was because Lin Xian's sword strike was simply too terrifying. The Wan family's patriarch's body went numb. He felt that he couldn't withstand it. In the next moment, he used the law of clouds fragment to the extreme and dodged quickly. The law of clouds disappeared without a trace. In an instant, the Wan family's patriarch merged into the void and disappeared. It was over. That kid might not be able to catch him. Yes, the law of clouds was too strange. Moreover, if a half-step sage wanted to escape, it was impossible to stop him. The people in the distance sighed. Lin Xian snorted coldly. You want to escape? Do you think you can escape? The great dragon sword spirit roared, and the power of his sword chi erupted once again. The sword chi was like a dragon, flickering with incomparable light. It crisscrossed the air, illuminating the entire world. Chapter 3181. With a loud boom, the sword slashed through the void. A figure flew out. The Wan family's ancestor was stunned in midair, unable to believe what had just happened. His body slowly split into two, and his blood turned into a sea of blood, roaring in the air. What? The Wan family's ancestor was split in half. How was this possible? How did he do it? The Wan family's ancestor had already turned into a cloud of mist and was not attacked at all. How did he kill him? Were these people crazy? To be honest, even the Wan family's ancestor himself did not know how he was injured. He did not know that Lin Xian's dragon sword soul could destroy everything. It could even cut through the void, let alone a mere cloud of mist. I told you, I won't let you go this time. So, you can go to hell. Lin Xian formed a seal with his palm. A pair of golden eyes appeared in the void. Countless runes flashed, and together with the law of fire, it directly burned the ancestor's soul. Ah! The Wan family's ancestor was disdainful before, but now he let out a miserable cry. The other party had such a mysterious and terrifying eye technique. He had miscalculated. No! The Wan family's ancestor screamed crazily and spat out countless black mist, surrounding him. The black mist was extremely cold. Could it be formed by the souls of millions of powerhouses? He did not expect the Wan family's ancestor to be so vicious. A senior expert in the distance exclaimed, Don't be enveloped by this dark cloud, it specializes in hurting souls. As expected, after being enveloped by the dark cloud, the Wan family's ancestor's soul actually survived. Even Lin Xian was shocked by this. It seemed that a half-step sage was indeed strong. Without a special ability, it would be difficult to kill the other party. However, this could not do anything to Lin Xian. No matter how strong the other party was, no matter how many treasures he had, he could still send him to hell. Buzz! In Lin Xian's eyes, the Tianji divine eye exploded again. At the same time, the dragon sword soul also entered the mysterious eye. With a boom, the power of the Tianji divine eye multiplied. Instantly, the dark cloud was mercilessly torn apart and burned fiercely, turning into nothingness. Ah! Impossible! How could you possibly break through my dark clouds? The Wan family's old ancestor screamed like a madman. He really couldn't understand how Lin Xian's battle prowess could still increase. This was beyond his imagination. In the next moment, the dark clouds in the sky were torn apart. The soul of the Wan family old ancestor wanted to escape. But in the end, it was burned to ashes. With a boom, his corpse fell from the sky, shattering the mountains and rivers within 1,000,000 miles. The void couldn't bear the body and blood of a half-saint. Dead? The surrounding people were all stunned. They realized that even after a long time, the Wan clan's old ancestor was still unable to revive. This meant that the other party had been completely killed. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. A dignified sage-to-be had actually died? Oh heavens! How could this be? This was truly too shocking to them. After all, a half-saint was someone who had one foot in the saint realm. That kind of person was about to transcend heaven and earth. Even if he encountered a strong enemy and couldn't defeat them, escaping wouldn't be a problem. But now, a half-saint had died in front of them. Lin Xian took the Wan family old ancestor's storage ring, then turned around and soared into the sky, disappearing into the sky. The surrounding people felt their scalps go numb. They knew that a huge earthquake and a huge storm had occurred again. The death of a half-saint was definitely an endless storm. As expected, the news spread at the speed of light. Soon, the entire cloud-returning planet knew about it. A half-saint had fallen. Moreover, it was killed by a young genius. Linwoody? Linwoody had already become a half-saint. How was that possible? When they found out that it was Linwoody who had killed the half-saint, they all went crazy. Previously, when Linwoody and the Nether King fought on Heaven's Peak, he was only a young generation who had comprehended the power of Tao. Only 1 or 2 years had passed, and he had already become a half-saint? How was that possible? How did Tao do it? These people were all crazy. The older generation figures were also stunned. One had to know that many of the older generation powerhouses had been stuck in the 9-star Grand Garden for 1 or 2,000 years. However, they had never been able to take that step. But now, there was a young man who could take that step in 1 or 2 years. They could not believe it. Even the most monstrous genius could not do that. There was a secret. Damn it, that kid must have a secret. He might have a method to become a half-saint. For a time, countless people were shocked. Countless large sects and large family clans were burning with passion as they searched for Linwoody. However, they had lost track of Linwoody. If a half-saint wanted to hide, they would not be able to find him at all. The Chi family? The Chi family's patriarch was shocked. He did not personally go to the demonic realm. However, when he received the news, he personally went to the scene. When he returned, his mood was extremely solemn. That was because he felt a familiar aura at the scene of the battle. He thought of that person again. However, he could not believe that the other party had already become a half-saint. The other party had become a half-saint at such a young age. His future achievements were limitless. He was a genius who had the potential to become a great emperor. Thinking of this, the Chi family's patriarch took a deep breath. At the same time, he asked, "Siyu, have you found any news about Lin Gongzi?" Chi Siyu shook her head. She could not find anything. Forget it, there was no need to investigate. The patriarch shook his head. If the other party was really a half-saint, they would not be able to find anything. For a time, everyone was talking about Linwoody. At the same time, a tsunami occurred on the blood-refined planet. An endless sea of blood surged, and the void within 1,000,000 miles shattered. The warriors on the blood-refined planet felt their scalps go numb. Damn it, had Patriarch Shui Pao gone crazy? What was going on? Wasn't he in seclusion? It was said that he would not wake up for 100 or 200 years. Why had he come out in just a few years? The crowd didn't know. They only saw a blood-red figure rushing into the clouds, arriving above the 9 heavens, letting out endless roars. "Linwoody, you dared to kill 2 of my disciples and destroy my soul fragment. I will tear you to pieces!" Patriarch Shui Pao roared at the sky. He could not bear it, so he decided to kill Lin Xian. Otherwise, he would not be able to continue cultivating in seclusion. Cloud-returning planet, right? Alright, I'll go there personally and kill you! After Lin Xian killed the Wan family's patriarch, he took his storage ring and left. He came to an uninhabited mountain range, set up an array, and entered. Then, Lin Xian began to search through the Wan family's patriarch's storage ring. "Let me see the collection of a half-saint. What do you think?" Lin Xian's soul entered. In the next moment, he was extremely shocked. It had to be said that the collection of a half-martial ancestor was too rich. The spiritual herbs, spiritual pills, martial arts, divine abilities, and some records of the great Tao of heaven and earth were all incomparably precious. Chapter 3182. Lin Xian took a look at those pills. They were all needed by the half-step sage realm. He could consume them. He could also use those spirit herbs for cultivation. What about those martial arts cultivation methods? Lin Xian gave them a cursory glance. He did not care about these. What he cared about now was great Tao comprehension. Sure enough, the Wan family's patriarch had great Tao comprehension. There was a stone tablet with the comprehension of the law of clouds carved on it. Although it was not words and only an aura, Lin Xian could sense it. And he could clearly sense it. Next, Lin Xian sensed the law of clouds. Clouds were formless, shadowless, traceless, and very similar to wind. Therefore, Lin Xian's comprehension of the law of clouds increased his movement speed again. Not only that, but the law of fire and the power of annihilation also increased. Combined with the plenilun seed and great Tao comprehension scripture, Lin Xian's comprehension of the great Tao deepened. 3 months later, after Lin Xian came out, he received news that Blood Refinement Planet's patriarch Shui Pao was coming to Cloud Return Planet to kill him. Humph! Lin Xian snorted coldly and directly spread the word that he did not need to come. A month later, at Blood Refinement Planet, he would personally take the dog's head. Lin Xian's words were executed. Heaven and earth's spiritual energy automatically condensed, forming a decree that did not dissipate for a long time in the clouds. Martial artists all around saw it. They looked up and saw the decree left in the sky and were extremely shocked. Lin Wudy and Patriarch Shui Pao were going to fight. This was big news. In an instant, this news spread throughout the 8 desolates. Soon, everyone on Cloud Return Planet knew about it. No one expected Lin Wudy to be so arrogant and take the initiative to kill his way to their door. This news was transmitted to Blood Refinement Planet through the ancient starry sky path. Patriarch Shui Pao was so angry that he vomited blood. Damn brat, he was really going too far. Since you dare to come, I'll make sure you don't return. A month later, at the Great Blood Plains, a battle to the death. Patriarch Shui Pao replied domineeringly. On Blood Refinement Planet, the martial artists on Cloud Return Planet were all excited and crazy. 2 half-sages were going to fight to the death. This was definitely a once-in-a-lifetime event. Countless people were preparing to head to the Scarlet Plains to watch the battle. After all, they absolutely couldn't miss such a battle. One by one, the Grand Elders and sect leaders of the major clans and Holy Lands made their way to Huang Xiaolong. Even the half-saints were alarmed by it. Ancestor Shui Pao had been famous for a long time, and he was extremely powerful. He was well known throughout the blood-refining planet, and he was an extremely terrifying existence. He wondered if Lin Wudy would be able to beat him. It was said that not long ago, Lin Wudy had killed the patriarch of the Wan clan. He would definitely be able to defeat Patriarch Shui Pao. However, there were also people who snorted coldly. That might not be the case. The patriarch of the Wan clan was already at the end of his rope. Although he had used a secret technique to forcefully raise his qi and blood, it was still too weak. But Patriarch Shui Pao was different. He was at his peak and his strength was far beyond the Wan clan's patriarch. The supreme elders and sect leaders quickly analyzed the situation. Soon, a half-saint released the news that 500 years ago, Patriarch Shui Pao had made a name for himself. Back then, 2 half-saints had died at the hands of the other party. Furthermore, the other 2 half-saints had been suppressed to the point where they did not dare to come out of seclusion. One could only imagine how powerful Patriarch Shui Pao was. When the news came out, everyone was in an uproar. Patriarch Shui Pao was actually so powerful. They were all half-saints, but the difference in strength between them was extremely huge. It was obvious that Patriarch Shui Pao was a very powerful half-saint. This time, Lin Wudy was really careless. The blood-refining planet was extremely lively at this moment. Because of the battle between Lin Wudy and Patriarch Shui Pao, it caused a huge commotion, causing the surrounding star realms and outer realms to rush over. In the sky, a tall man wearing a yellow robe with a dragon embroidered on it descended. He had the aura of a king. So terrifying. Who was that? That was the Outer Realms genius, Jun Wuya. He had comprehended the path of a king. Didn't you see that many of the geniuses around him had submitted to him? What? How could he be so terrifying? Jun Wuya's gaze was calm. There were many geniuses following him. Some of them were willing to submit to him. The other portion had been subdued by his powerful sovereign king's will when he fought with them. In short, Jun Wuya's arrival caused a huge commotion. Countless eyes looked over in his direction. "You're really here?" a voice sounded. Jun Wuya turned his head and looked over. His eyes shone with a piercing light. "It's you!" It was a gentle and beautiful woman. She was Yu Linglong from the outstanding scholar residence. At this moment, Yu Linglong was even more beautiful than before. Moreover, there was a special aura coming from her body that made countless young geniuses fall for her. "It seems that you're also here for the half-saint battle," Yu Linglong said in a sweet voice. Jun Wuya nodded. "That's right. It was rare to see a battle of half a lifetime. Moreover, it was said that one of them was a very young genius. I can't imagine what kind of genius could enter the half-saint realm at such a young age. Yes, I'm afraid even the North Demon can't do it." "That's right. I don't think that Lin Xian can defeat the North Demon either." It seemed that there were many geniuses on the ancient path of the stars. While the two were talking, another figure descended. "Long time no see, the two of you." As soon as this person descended, he brought with him a monstrous demonic aura, causing the surrounding people to retreat in fear. So terrifying. "The Demon King is here?" It was close to the power of the Tao. This demonic aura was very familiar. Jun Wuya and Yu Linglong were stunned. They then turned their heads to look. "Hey Mo!" They recognized that the person was Hey Mo from the outstanding scholar residence. However, the current black demon was much stronger than he had been before. He emitted a biting cold aura. It was obvious that he had successfully comprehended the power of the Tao. After Hey Mo arrived, he was in high spirits. He looked at Jun Wuya and Yu Linglong with a strong battle intent in his eyes. However, he didn't fight. Instead, he asked, "Are the two of you the only ones here? Where are the others? Is Lin Xian here?" When he was at the outstanding scholar residence, Hey Mo didn't take Lin Xian seriously. However, in the final ranking battle, Lin Xian soared and defeated the North Demon, becoming the first in the outstanding scholar residence. At that time, he didn't even comprehend the power of the Tao. The gap between them was simply too great. This made Hey Mo feel despair. Later, Hey Mo left the outstanding scholar residence and went to the fallen abyss. He painstakingly cultivated there, risking his life in the face of death, and finally comprehended the power of the devil. Now, he was also one of the top experts who had comprehended the power of the Tao. In his opinion, his Tao of the demon was absolutely terrifying. He was confident that he could fight with Lin Xian. He might even be able to defeat him. Jun Wuya and Yu Linglong frowned. How dare Hey Mo talk to them like that? One should know that Hey Mo was very respectful in front of them. However, soon, the two of them snorted coldly. Now that Hey Mo had the strength to contend with them, their attitude naturally changed. Chapter 3183. Yu Linglong said. Lin Xian hadn't come yet, and neither had the North Demon. Who knew where Han Fei had gone? So far, only the few of us have arrived. But don't worry, as long as they are in the nearby planets, they will come. After all, a battle between half-sages was rare. All right, I'll wait for him here. Black Demon roared, his eyes filled with arrogance. After meeting Lin Xian this time, he would defeat him with his own hands. More and more people arrived at the Great Scarlet Plains. Geniuses and experts from other planets arrived one after another. The native warriors of Blood Refining Planet had arrived early. All of them were discussing intensely. Tell me, what kind of person is Lin Wudi? Yes, he was too daring. How dare he challenge Patriarch Shui Pao? Patriarch Shui Pao had been a half-sage for hundreds of years. He could be said to be a veteran half-sage and was very powerful. Lin Wudi was said to be a young man. Who knew what luck he had to become a half-sage? He was very strong among the younger generation, but compared to a veteran half-sage, he was nothing. I don't know, but I heard that he came from Cloud Returning Planet. I heard from the people of Cloud Returning Planet that Lin Woody is not simple. He had defeated the Nether King and then killed a half-sage. It seems that both of Patriarch Shui Pao's disciples were killed by him. What? Lin Woody was so powerful. Wasn't he too arrogant? He dared to touch Patriarch Shui Pao's people. At that moment, a genius from Cloud Returning Planet walked over. Hearing these people's discussion, he said indifferently, I don't think Lin Woody will win. As far as I know, the Wan family's patriarch that he killed was a half-sage at the end of his life. Although he used a secret technique to forcefully raise his vitality, he was not at his peak. Moreover, the Wan family's patriarch was only average among half-sages. That was why he was killed by Lin Woody. But Patriarch Shui Pao was different. As far as I know, Patriarch Shui Pao is at his peak and unfathomable. Lin Woody probably doesn't even have a 10% chance of winning. When these words came out, everyone was in an uproar. They didn't expect the Cloud Returning Planet's expert to bring such news. In an instant, it engulfed the entire Great Scarlet Plains. Was there no chance of winning? Yu Linglong frowned slightly. Hey Mo, who was beside her, sneered. How could a young man defeat an older half-saint? The law's comprehensions that both sides grasped were different. Yes, I have stayed on the blood-refining planet for a long time. Patriarch Shui Pao is infamous throughout the entire blood-refining planet. A flirtatious voice sounded. They turned around and saw Shui Ji walking over. At this moment, Shui Jiwei had also comprehended a power that was close to the Tao. You're all here. On the other side, Han Fei also came over. Surprisingly, Huangfu Beitian was with him. Looks like these people from our prodigy warrior manor are basically all gathered together. Only the northern monster and Lin Xian were left. I do know a little about the northern Yao. He seemed to have completely left this star field and gone to another star world. He probably wouldn't come, Han Fei said in a deep voice. As for Lin Xian? I don't know. He seemed to be the last to leave. I don't know where he is now. Humph, that brat was too arrogant. Perhaps he had already fallen outside. Who knows? Mo sneered. Buzz. Suddenly, there was a suppressive force between heaven and earth. It caused the surrounding people to tremble and their blood to freeze. Damn it, what's going on? A half-saint is here. A half-saint is here? Where is he? When the news came out, everyone was shocked. It didn't appear. It should be hiding its aura. However, there was still a trace of half-saint's aura. There was probably more than one half-saint who came to watch this battle. On the Scarlet Plains, a few figures descended. One of them was an old man with a red face and a majestic gait. Beside him was a beautiful woman. It was the Qi family's patriarch and Shisiyu. Behind them were two Qi family's elders and a top genius. The Big Dipper sect master and grand elder had also come. At the same time, Gao Peng also came. On the other side, a figure covered in black, like a demon king, appeared. It caused many people to exclaim. His aura was very similar to Mo's. However, upon closer inspection, it was different. The Nether King is here! Countless people exclaimed. The Nether King was very famous in the starry sky. Even on the blood-refining planet, he was somewhat famous. At this moment, his arrival immediately caused a commotion. For a moment, many people surrounded him. I heard that you fought with Lin Woody and lost to him. Is that true? Was Lin Woody really just a person who had comprehended Tao at that time? Then 2 years later, how did he become a half-saint? A series of confused cries could be heard. Nether King shouted coldly. Get lost! A pitch-black moon appeared on his body, crushing the entire void. The powerful aura made everyone's scalp tingle. They quickly retreated, no longer daring to be arrogant. Previously, they had been too excited to the point that they had forgotten that this was a terrifying powerhouse. There were a few people beside the Nether King. One of them was wearing a black robe embroidered with a few shining stars. His name was Seven Lights. He came from the same world as the Nether King. However, he was stronger than the Nether King. At this moment, Seven Lights looked at the Nether King and frowned slightly. Are you sure that the Lin Woody who fought with Patriarch Xue Pao is the young man who defeated you? The Nether King shook his head. I'm not sure, but it should be good. After all, there aren't many who dare to use such an arrogant name. Indeed, this Lin Woody was really arrogant. The ancient path of the stars was so deep, and there were so many prodigies in the universe. Who dared to call himself invincible? This Lin Woody was too arrogant. Seven Lights shook his head slightly. Let's see. If it's that person, then I admit defeat. If it's not that person, I will accompany you to Cloud Return Planet. I want to see how strong the person who defeated you is. How dare he call himself invincible? At this point, Seven Lights' eyes burst with a piercing light. Patriarch, is Lin Gongzi really Lin Woody? On the other side, Chisiyu asked in a low voice. Until now, she still didn't believe it. If I'm not wrong, it should be him. Because I felt Lin Gongzi's aura from the ghost realm. However, I'm only 70% sure. Chisiyu was stunned. She didn't expect that Lin Gongzi, who helped the Qi family, was a half-saint. Patriarch, does that Lin Gongzi have a chance of winning? Can he defeat Patriarch Xue Pao? It's very difficult. The Qi family's patriarch sighed. About 300 years ago, I wasn't injured at that time. I came to Blood Refinement Planet and fought with Patriarch Xue Pao. Chapter 3184. Hearing this, Chisiyu exclaimed. She really didn't know about this. The patriarch of the Qi family continued. At that time, I exchanged 900 blows with Xue Pao and lost. At that time, I was at the peak of my power. What? Patriarch, you lost to Xue Pao? Chisiyu was shocked. The patriarch of the Qi family was so powerful that he was like a god to her. However, such a person was defeated by Patriarch Xue Pao. One could only imagine how terrifying Patriarch Xue Pao was. If Lin Xian were to fight with such a person, his chances of winning would be very slim. The patriarch of the Qi family sighed. It was normal for a young man to be arrogant. He would have to suffer a little before he could put away his arrogance. But don't worry. If he is really a sage to be, even if he loses, he should have no problem escaping. Chisiyu heaved a sigh of relief when she heard that Lin Xian's life was not in danger. The patriarch of the Qi family looked solemn because he still could not believe that Lin Xian was Lin Woody. Suddenly, someone exclaimed. Patriarch Xue Pao had arrived. Everyone raised their heads to look. The sky in the distance suddenly turned red, as if it was a sea of blood, and it was constantly surging. In the sea of blood, a figure flew quickly and appeared in front of everyone in the blink of an eye. Buzz! A monstrous bloody aura and boundless pressure surged in the sky like 100,000 bloody mountains. Everyone trembled under the pressure, and their scalps went numb. God, is this Patriarch Xue Pao? Many people exclaimed. It was too terrifying. His aura alone was enough to kill a group of elites. No one below the sage-to-be level could compare to him. Damn it, Patriarch Xue Pao's aura had become stronger. The patriarch of the Qi family frowned. He was afraid that Patriarch Xue Pao was much stronger than he was 300 years ago. Originally, he thought that Lin Xian would have a chance of winning. But now, it seemed that he did not even have a chance of winning. Patriarch Xue Pao looked around in the sky. His powerful aura surged in the sky. Suddenly, he was stunned and stared in a direction. His gaze turned into two rivers of blood, surging and roaring. Immediately, the martial artists in that direction were all pressed to the ground, trembling. At the same time, they were terrified. Was Ancestor Xue Pao going to attack them? Chisiyu, the Qi family's elders, and the Sky Prides felt as though they had fallen into an icy abyss. Luckily, the figure of the progenitor beside them flickered, and the aura of a half-martial sacred encapsulated them. Blood Robe, long time no see. It's been more than 300 years. I didn't expect your aura to become so strong again. The ancestor of the Qi family said indifferently. As soon as he said this, everyone's expression changed. Heavens, from his tone, could it be that he's also a half-saint? Everyone's expression became incomparably interesting. In the sky, Ancestor Shui Pao narrowed his eyes. I was wondering who it was. So it was you, the old bastard from the Qi clan. I heard that you were injured when you fell into the abyss. Are you about to die? Why is it recovering now? I didn't expect that you would actually inquire about me. The old ancestor of the Qi clan laughed. Oh, recovered? Ancestor Shui Pao was stunned. He had heard about the injury of the old ancestor of the Qi clan. Even a half-step pill saint was helpless. In his opinion, the old ancestor of the Qi clan was hopeless. Unexpectedly, the old ancestor of the Qi clan had recovered. It seemed that the old ancestor of the Qi clan had a special opportunity. The two half-martial sacred realm experts were conversing. The powerful aura of the half-martial sacred realm surrounded the area. The entire Scarlet Plain was silent. Was this the aura of a half-martial sacred realm expert? Mo, Jun Wuya, and the others trembled and clenched their fists. They yearned for this power too much. In the sky, Ancestor Shui Pao retracted his gaze and asked coldly, Linwoody, is he not here yet? His voice reverberated across the area, but no one responded. Seeing this, Ancestor Shui Pao snorted coldly and sat down cross-legged in the air. The blood sea surrounded him. Everyone else braced themselves and waited there. However, after waiting for a long time, they still didn't see Linwoody, which made everyone a little impatient. Damn it, what's going on? Could it be that the kid is not coming? Maybe he was boasting before, but after knowing how powerful Ancestor Shui Pao was, he was too scared to come. What's going on? We came all the way across the starry sky, but he doesn't dare to accept our challenge. Some people were unhappy. However, there were also some powerful elders who snorted. Young man, don't you have any patience? Let alone a day, even if you wait a year, so what? Yeah, didn't you see that Ancestor Shui Pao didn't say anything? Everyone looked at the sky and saw that Ancestor Shui Pao was motionless as if he was asleep. All right. Let's wait a little longer. Many people gritted their teeth. After all, they had spent a lot of effort to come here, so they couldn't just leave like that. Lin Gongzi, please don't come. Qi Siyu prayed in her heart. To be honest, she didn't want Lin Xian to come at all. However, the old ancestor of the Qi clan raised his eyebrows and looked at the sky in the distance. He's here. As soon as he said that, everyone around was shocked, and the news spread in all directions. Everyone knew that Lin Xian was here. In the next moment, countless people widened their eyes. Their gazes were like rainbows that pierced through the void and stared into the distance. Is he here? Is Linwoody really coming? Is he really from the younger generation? Could it be that he's an old monster who looks younger? Exclamations could be heard. What? He's here! Qi Siyu was stunned. She didn't expect her prayers to be useless. On the other side, Jun Wuya, Mo, Yu Linglong, and the others also looked over. The Nether King and Seven Lights also looked up. In the sky, a figure descended. He was very fast and arrived in front of everyone in the blink of an eye. It was a handsome young man in a red robe. His black hair was like a waterfall that fluttered in the wind. He didn't exude a cold aura like Ancestor Shui Pao. In fact, no one could sense his aura. Unfathomable. It's him. It's really him. The old ancestor of the Qi clan's eyes flickered. On the other hand, the Nether King was extremely shocked. Although he already knew that it was Linwoody, he still couldn't accept it. The ones who were the most surprised were Jun Wuya, Mo, and Yu Linglong. Those people looked at the figure in the sky with their eyes wide open. Their minds were blank. Isn't that Lin Xian? I told you that the kid would come. No, he's not here to watch the battle. He's here to fight. What? That's impossible. Could he be Linwoody? Those people were dumbfounded. Impossible. Mo was the first to scream. What a joke. How could that person be Linwoody? Linwoody is a half-step sage. Is Lin Xian already a half-step sage? How long has it been? Yuling Long, Jun Wuya, Han Fei, and the others also couldn't believe it, let alone Hamo. However, they were soon dumbfounded. In fact, they were even stunned on the spot. Chapter 3185. After Lin Xian descended from the sky, he looked at the blood-red figure in the distance, and said coldly, "You are Patriarch Xue Pao?" Buzz. Patriarch Xue Pao opened his eyes. As his eyes opened and closed, the 9 heavens and 10 lands shook. He was also carefully observing Lin Xian and was extremely shocked. He was too young. He could not imagine that such a young person would be a sage-to-be. But soon, he stopped thinking about it. So what if he was young and a genius? Today, he would kill him with his own hands. "Kid, you killed my disciple and destroyed my divided soul. You will definitely die. Kneel down now and I will leave you a complete corpse. Otherwise, I will turn you into one of the 3,000 rivers of blood. You will never be reincarnated. You think you can do it? I am afraid you can't do it." Lin Xian took a step forward. The aura on his body suddenly burst out and turned into a shocking divine sword that shot into the sky. Terrifying flames lit up the entire sky. At this moment, Lin Xian was unstoppable. As soon as this aura was released, all the surrounding elites trembled again. The power of half a lifetime. Qi family patriarch's eyes burst out with a piercing cold light. Qi Siyu, who was next to him, was stunned. On the other side, Nether King, 7 luminaries, Yuling Long, Hamo, and the others were extremely shocked. The power of a sage-to-be. Impossible! He had the power of a sage-to-be. He was a sage-to-be. These people were going crazy. Lin Xian was a sage-to-be. This was beyond their understanding. They remembered that when they left the House of Extraordinary Warriors, Lin Xian had only comprehended a power that was close to Tao. But now, he had become a sage-to-be. The speed of his improvement was too fast. They had never heard of any monster who could cultivate at such a speed. Hamo, in particular, trembled. His face was extremely pale. This kind of irresistible fear once again shrouded him. Previously in the House of Extraordinary Warriors ranking competition, Lin Xian had grasped a power that was close to Tao. At that time, he had this kind of fear and despair. Since then, he had gone through countless life and death battles and finally comprehended a power that was close to Tao. In his opinion, he could finally avenge his humiliation and even defeat his opponent. However, when they met again, he noticed that Yangming had already left him in the dust and became a half-saint. This was a kind of despair. From now on, Hamo would live in Lin Xian's shadow for the rest of his life. In the sky, Ancestor Xue Pao's eyes shone brightly. "I didn't expect you to really be a half-saint. No wonder he dared to be so arrogant." Patriarch Xue Pao rose to his feet, and as he did, the 3,000 seas of blood behind him began to roar. "However, you really don't know life from death. There are strong and weak half-saints as well. You have no chance of winning against me. Today, I will kill you with my own hands." A terrifying voice resounded throughout the world, causing everyone to tremble. Indeed, they were all semi-sage experts. However, there was a difference in strength between them. There was no doubt that Patriarch Xue Pao was a very powerful half-saint. "There's no point in talking anymore. Make your move. Let me see how strong you are, Patriarch Xue Pao." Lin Xian's eyes shone with a cold light. He could feel his blood boiling. Ever since he became a half-saint, he had not used his full strength. Previously, Patriarch Wan's blood had dried up. Although he had improved his secret technique, he could not reach the peak. Therefore, in that battle, Lin Xian did not use his full strength. Today's battle with Patriarch Xue Pao was something that Lin Xian had been looking forward to for a long time. He wanted to properly test his strength, and see just how strong he was now. "If you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish." Tens of thousands of rays of blood-red light bloomed from Patriarch Xue Pao's body, sweeping across the entire world. He was like a blood-red demon king, displaying his powerful strength at this moment. Between heaven and earth, the sea of blood roared and engulfed Lin Xian. It's too scary. Retreat quickly. The surrounding geniuses and experts who were watching the battle frantically retreated. They had no choice. They did not expect Patriarch Xue Pao to display such a terrifying aura as soon as he appeared. The precept fragment could easily kill them. Good timing! Lin Xian roared. His black hair danced wildly, and his eyes shone with a cold light. His fist was like a sun, dancing in the sky. Everywhere it passed, the sea of blood burned. Their precept fragments collided in the air. Every strike was like a clap of thunder. With a wave of his hand, everything within 1,000,000 miles turned into chaos. A terrifying black hole appeared, as if it was going to devour everything. It was too scary. In the field, other than Patriarch Qi and a few other hidden half-sages who could remain calm, everyone else was pushed 5,000,000 miles away. The entire Great Scarlet Plain was overturned in an instant. He was actually this powerful. Nether King was shocked. Beside him, Seven Radiance's face was extremely ugly. He had been dismissive of Lin Wudy before, but now that he thought about it, Lin Wudy was really stupid. A wisp of Lin Wudy's aura could easily kill him. He's too strong. I'm afraid we won't be able to catch up to him in this lifetime. Jun Weia laughed bitterly. Yu Linglong's mouth also twitched. Lin Xian had now become a mountain in front of them. It would be difficult for them to climb over it in their lifetime. After one strike, Lin Xian and Patriarch Xue Pao separated. Lin Xian stood with his hands behind his back. Sword light surrounded him, making him look like a sword god. On the other side, Patriarch Xue Pao's 3,000 blood seas surged. The terrifying precept of blood suppressed the world. However, his face was a little serious. Kid, you have some skills. You can actually block my strike. However, that was just a probing attack. I'm going to be serious now. As he spoke, he waved his hand. The 3,000 blood rivers behind him, together with the precept of blood, charged forward. They turned into 3,000 blood-colored long blades and exploded in front of him. 9 suns opened the sky. Lin Xian's fist seemed to turn into a divine light. It had the power to split the world apart. The precept of fire burned. It could burn everything in the world. The precept of blood was monstrous. Wherever it passed, everything turned into blood. Even 5,000,000 miles away, the elites felt their blood boil. It was as if they were about to escape from their bodies. They were so frightened that they hurriedly used their powers to firmly seal their blood. At the same time, they frantically retreated. As for the precept of fire, it was violent and destructive. It could burn everything. The entire world was covered in flames. It seemed that even the precept of blood was about to be burned. Lin Xian struck out with the blazing Qilin sword. Dazzling light burst out from the long sword. It seemed to turn into a huge blazing Qilin in his hand. The 13 green lotus swords, a sword to the heavens. Lin Xian waved the blazing Qilin sword. The precept of fire danced and turned into an eternal light. When the sword struck out, it could destroy the world. He struck out 13 streaks of sword chi in succession, and collided with the 3,000 blood rivers. Between the heavens and the earth, terrifying energy surged. It was too terrifying. Everyone closed their eyes. They did not dare to watch. Some of the elites who had comprehended the way tried to force themselves to watch. As a result, their eyes bled and they screamed. Perhaps only the Qi family's patriarch and a few other half-saints were able to see this battle clearly. Chapter 3186. Boom! Boom! After the intense collision, the blood river was destroyed and the 13 swords created a vacuum. Lin Xian struck out with his sword again, and a fire Qilin charged towards Patriarch Xue Pao with blazing flames. Get lost! Ancestor Xue Pao roared. He was shocked. He did not expect his 3,000 long blades to be broken by Lin Fan. This made him furious. In the next moment, his blood river came crashing down as if it could destroy the world. It wanted to refine the fire Qilin alive. Roar! Lin Xian's great dragon sword soul roared, and the fire Qilin's sword seemed to have come to life and turned into a divine beast. Buzz! The great dragon sword soul exploded and a cold light flashed. Lin Xian's aura became terrifying again. With a roar, the long sword rushed out and smashed the blood palm, engulfing ancestors Shui Pao. The sword's soul became an eternal immortal light as if it had experienced countless years. There was an earth-shattering sound and a figure flew out. Patriarch Shui Pao's body was smashed into smithereens, and his internal organs were all gone. The sword's soul had injured him. With a boom, he flew out 3 million miles and smashed through the void. The blood of a half-saint fell and pierced through the blood plains. There were cries of ghosts and howls of wolves. It was a scene of destruction. What? Ancestor Shui Pao was injured? The Qi family patriarch and the others exclaimed. The others opened their eyes when they heard the news. Sure enough, the terrifying light had disappeared and there was a huge crack in the sky. Ancestor Shui Pao's body was smashed, and he was terrified. Everyone was shocked when they saw the scene. Ancestor Shui Pao was injured. How could it be? They were about to go crazy. They had heard too many legends about Ancestor Shui Pao. It was said that he had killed 2 half-saints 500 years ago. Moreover, he had forced the other 2 half-saints to stay put. What a powerful and terrifying existence. 500 years later, the other party's strength would definitely rise to another level, reaching an inconceivable level. Therefore, they thought that Lin Wuti was no match for Ancestor Shui Pao. But now, after exchanging a few blows, Patriarch Shui Pao was pierced through by the sword. Although this sword strike wasn't enough to kill a half-sage, the impact of this strike was simply too shocking. This Lin Wuti was too terrifying. He was a young genius. Who would have thought that he could injure Patriarch Shui Pao? What kind of divine ability law did he cultivate? The law of fire. Furthermore, his sword also appeared to be extraordinary. It was actually able to transform the fire Qilin into something so realistic. That's not all. Why do I even hear a dragon's roar coming from his body? Exclamations rang out one after another. Even the patriarch of the Qi clan and the other half-saints were bewildered. There were simply too many secrets on Lin Xian. Brat, I didn't expect you to be able to injure me. Progenitor Shui Pao arrived from the rift 3 million li away. With every step Mei took, his body recovered a little. Very quickly, he recovered to his original state, without a trace of damage. Not only that, but his aura was even more terrifying. I underestimated you. The law of fire, the roar of a dragon, and the Qilin sword. I didn't expect you to have so many Dharma treasures. To be able to achieve such accomplishments at such a young age, it's truly shocking both ancient and modern times. However, it's a pity that you're too arrogant. Of all things, you shouldn't have challenged me. You shouldn't have challenged me on the blood-refining planet. If this battle had been on the cloud-returning planet, you might have been able to survive. But now, on the blood-refining planet, you will die without a doubt. Having said that, Patriarch Shui Pao roared into the sky. 3,000 li of blood suddenly rushed into the blood-refining plains below. Powerful energy and endless crimson light filled the sky. What was going on? The surrounding people were stunned. Why didn't Patriarch Shui Pao attack Lin Wuti? Why did he attack the ground below? They couldn't figure it out. However, the faces of the other patriarchs and half-saints changed. Oh no, could the rumor be true? What rumor? Qi Siyu and the others were surprised. The Qi clan patriarch quickly retreated. Rumor had it that the blood-refining plains was not simple. It was a mass grave. In ancient times, an earth-shattering battle had taken place here. Hundreds of millions of lives had died here. Even half-saints had fallen here. Their blood fused with the land, causing the land to remain blood-red from the beginning to the end. It had never changed. It was said that the souls of hundreds of millions of lives had been suppressed in the blood-refining plains. They had thought it was just a rumor. But now, Looking at Patriarch Shui Pao, it seemed that the rumor was true. He wanted to activate the hundreds of millions of lives suppressed in the blood-refining plains. As he spoke, the Qi clan patriarch led Qi Siyu and the others a few million miles away. The other half-saints also retreated. They didn't dare to be careless. After all, the rumor was very terrifying. Within 5 million miles, only Patriarch Shui Pao and Lin Xian were left. Kid, it's time to taste the gift I've prepared for you. Patriarch Shui Pao laughed. Come out. 3,000 li of blood rushed into the sky, creating a black hole in the blood-refining plains. Countless roars came from below, making one's scalp tingle. Oh my God, what was that? Those who were watching the battle from afar were terrified. The sound of his laughter was simply too terrifying. Buzz! In the next moment, countless blood-red figures rushed out of the pitch-black hole. They all roared at the sky like demons. There were blood-red tubes on their bodies and blood-red runes between their eyebrows. Obviously, they were all controlled by Patriarch Shui Pao. Ha ha ha, kid, do you think I didn't make any preparations when I chose to come to the blood-refining plains? Now you can die. Patriarch Shui Pao formed a seal with his hands. Thousands of blood-red creatures rushed out crazily. These were vengeful spirits that had existed for countless years. They were really vicious. Even those who were close to Tao would be torn to shreds in an instant. Even a half-saint would die if surrounded by so many vengeful spirits. In an instant, Lin Xian was surrounded by countless vengeful spirits. The strong and cold aura wanted to tear him to pieces. How could mere vengeful spirits do anything to me? Lin Xian laughed. The flames on his body rushed to the sky and covered all the vengeful spirits. But it didn't work. The vengeful spirits had the law of blood on them. It shone and blocked the law of fire. In front of him, Patriarch Shui Pao laughed. Kid, these are not ordinary vengeful spirits. Under my control, your law of fire can't hurt them. Let's see how you can escape from these vengeful spirits. Chapter 3187. Modified. Oh no, Lin Wuyi was in danger. Yes, no matter how strong he was, he could not fight against Patriarch Shui Pao. His law of fire could at most resist the law of blood, but what about the vengeful spirits? He could not withstand it. If he was touched, he would be seriously injured and might be torn to pieces. Boom! 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 It was over. Everyone shook their heads and sighed. Even a sage-to-be could not withstand such an attack. Lin Wuyi would definitely be torn to pieces. But soon they were stunned. Because of the collisions in the sky, the vengeful spirits came back screaming. They were torn to pieces, but Lin Xian was like a god of war. His body shone brightly and he was injured. He was not injured. What kind of body was that? These people were all stunned. The Qi family patriarch and the others were also shocked. This physique was too strong. It was more terrifying than an ordinary sage-to-be. Lin Xian roared and charged forward. Suddenly, countless vengeful spirits were sent flying. He sneered. Was that all? How ridiculous. Did you think these vengeful spirits could tear my body apart? Lin Xian's divine body shone brightly. It was very terrifying. He directly sent all the vengeful spirits flying. Damn it, get lost! Patriarch Shui Pao roared and the vengeful spirits screamed. Suddenly, everyone's souls trembled as if they were about to be pierced. Oh no, it was a soul attack. These people were scared and retreated again. Your body is strong, but what about your soul? I don't believe that your soul can withstand these attacks. Now go to hell for me. Patriarch Shui Pao smiled sinisterly again. Indeed, these vengeful spirits were very terrifying. Lin Wuyi seemed to be a body cultivator, but his soul should not be too strong. His soul attack could definitely kill him in one move. On the opposite side, Lin Xian felt the collision of the vengeful spirits, and sneered. Soul attack? Looks like you don't know what's good for you. His palms formed a seal, and a pair of golden eyes appeared in the sky. They were like the eyes of a god, with the law of fire, looking down on the earth. Reincarnation! Lin Xian roared. The golden light in his eyes spun quickly, forming two golden vortexes that directly shrouded the vengeful spirits. The vengeful spirits screamed crazily. They were souls, but because of special reasons, they could not be reincarnated and were suppressed under the Crimson Plains. Now, after being shrouded by the golden light, they could not resist and were all swallowed. In an instant, the vengeful spirits that filled the sky. In the sky, the golden eyes shrouded in a mysterious light. Do you only have this little bit of ability? Lin Xian sneered. Damn it, that's impossible. How could it be so easily resolved? Patriarch Xue Pao was stunned. Was the other party's soul also so terrifying? Furthermore, what kind of eyes were those? Why was it that his soul was trembling as well? Those who were watching the battle from afar were extremely shocked. Ancestor Xue Pao was actually being suppressed. Was Patriarch Xue Pao going to lose? Thinking of this, their scalps went numb. If that was really the case, it would be an earth-shattering event. He was actually strong to such an extent. Hamo, Jun Wuya, and the others were shocked beyond words. The patriarch of the Qi clan and the other sage-to-be experts all looked solemn. This young man was incredible. Xue Pao, is this all you've got? Lin Xian's voice sounded from the front. Ancestor Xue Pao's face was extremely ugly. He then roared. Kid, don't be so arrogant. You underestimate me too much. You underestimate the Scarlet Plains too much. Do you think that's all there is? Alright, next, I'll show you a true peerless divine ability. 3000 Blood Demon Technique. Patriarch Xue Pao raised his head and roared. The law of blood swept out quickly. Behind him, 3000 blood rivers rolled and twisted in the sky, forming 3000 blood-colored demon kings. Every single one of them was capable of splitting the heavens and earth. The fragments of the law of blood in their bodies carried monstrous power. Kill! Patriarch Xue Pao roared, and the 3000 blood devils behind him roared as well, shaking the 9 heavens and 10 lands. The terrifying murderous aura directly shattered the sky. Roar! On Lin Xian's side, a dragon's roar was heard, resisting the murderous aura that filled the sky. The two sound waves clashed in the sky. It was useless. Lin Xian snorted coldly. On the opposite side, Patriarch Xue Pao's palms formed another seal. Suck blood. 3000 blood devils formation. In the distance, the martial artists screamed because many of them were instantly turned into dried corpses. Their blood gushed out crazily and gathered toward Patriarch Xue Pao. Not good. The power of the law fragments. Run! These people's scalps went numb, and they were scared out of their wits. They quickly ran away. Those who were slow to run were all deprived of blood. Junwuya, Yuling Long, Hamo, and the others also looked pale. They quickly retreated. Under the power of the law fragments, they could not resist at all. Lin Xian also felt the blood in his body surging, as if it was about to burst out of his body. This was the power of the law. It was invisible and traceless. A saint could instantly kill billions of living beings. Even Lin Xian, who was a sage to be of the same level, was affected. But soon, he shouted coldly. Suppress it! The great dragon sword soul in his body roared and turned into a peerless sword light, directly destroying this power. He turned into a giant dragon and suppressed Lin Xian's body. Lin Xian's blood completely calmed down. Competing with the law? Then have a taste of my law of fire! A piercing cold light burst out from his eyes. Ah! Patriarch Xue Pao screamed. His body suddenly burned, and his blood boiled as if it was about to evaporate. Damn it! Patriarch Xue Pao roared and activated the law of blood. The two laws collided, and countless cracks appeared on Patriarch Xue Pao's body. Damn it! The 3000 blood demon formation, charge! Patriarch Xue Pao retreated into the distance, suppressed by the power. At the same time, he activated the 3000 blood demon formation. But he was too shocked. Why did his law not hurt the other party, but was hurt by the other party's law? Could it be that the other party's law of power was stronger than his? Damn it, how was this possible? He did not believe it. He had comprehended the law for thousands of years, but it was not as profound as the other parties. How would he know that Lin Xian had the great dragon sword soul? That supreme power, coupled with the law of fire, was enough to destroy everything. At this moment, Lin Xian was facing the 3,000 blood demon formation. The flaming sword chi in his hand slashed in all directions. The law of fire danced in the sky. However, the 3,000 blood demon formation was extremely extraordinary. The 3,000 blood demons led the law of blood fragments to form a heaven and earth great formation. For a moment, it actually blocked Lin Xian's monstrous sword light. Not only that, it also charged towards Lin Xian quickly. The space where Lin Xian was completely enveloped by the blood-colored light. On the other side, Patriarch Xue Pao extinguished the flames on his body and flew over again. He saw Lin Xian surrounded by the 3,000 blood demons and laughed loudly. "Kid, how is it? Do you know how powerful my formation is now? Next, you will experience what despair is." Patriarch Xue Pao once again shot out a few blood-colored law of blood fragments into the blood demon formation. Buzz! The 3,000 blood demons roared towards the sky, and each of them bloomed with billions of rays of light. Chapter 3188. Modified, Humph! Lin Xian snorted coldly. Sword chi and flames danced, suppressing the heavens and earth. Suddenly, the light of the 3,000 blood demons was suppressed. The monstrous flames even threatened to engulf the 3,000 blood demons. Seeing this, Patriarch Xue Pao's face turned cold again. He took out a blood-red heart and bit into it. Suddenly, his aura skyrocketed. In front of him, the 3,000 blood demons stretched out their arms and turned into rivers of blood, entangling the sword chi in the sky. The fiery light completely enveloped the sky. The sky was once again blood-red. Do you think my blood precept is that simple? Only depriving you of blood? You're too naive. Since I can't absorb your blood, I'll let it go berserk. From now on, you'll become a madman. After the 3,000 blood demons suppressed the flames in the sky, Patriarch Xue Pao charged toward Lin Xian again. This time, the blood precept directly enveloped Lin Xian. He did not absorb Lin Xian's blood. Instead, he made Lin Xian's blood go berserk. In the end, he completely lost his mind. Not good. Lin Wudy is in danger. Yes, I've seen this move before. At that time, Patriarch Xue Pao fought against a half-saint. That half-saint was sealed for 3 years before he recovered. I'm afraid Lin Wudy will not be able to stop it. Next, he will completely turn into a man, more berserk than a beast. Hearing the words of a half-saint, the surrounding martial artists were shocked. Is Lin Wudy going to lose? Sure enough, he's too young. As a veteran half-saint, Patriarch Xue Pao's methods were powerful. He was also skilled in the application of precepts. This time, Lin Wudy was really going to be defeated. Lin Xian felt the berserk aura and his eyes turned red. He seemed to have become murderous, and wanted to destroy everything in the world. However, it was not that easy to make him go berserk. After all, he was also a half-saint. Moreover, he was not an ordinary half-saint. Great Dragon Sword Spirit, destroy! The great dragon sword spirit within Lin Fan's body roared crazily as it destroyed the berserk aura. The red glow in Lin Xian's eyes disappeared and turned back into golden runes. I have to say, you are indeed very strong, but it's a pity that you met me. Your nomological abilities are unable to affect me. Next, I will let you experience my true nomological mystical ability. Lin Xian sheathed his blazing Qilin sword. In the next moment, he shouted, "Sword, come!" Immediately, a flaming longsword appeared in his hand. This flaming longsword was completely formed from fragments of the law of fire. The light shone brightly, exuding a peerlessly violent and destructive aura. Instantly, the entire sky within a radius of a few million miles was enveloped by torrential flames. Tens of millions of miles away, Everyone's expressions changed. What a terrifying law fragment! Why did it feel like the nomological fragments that Lin Woody had comprehended were even more terrifying than Patriarch Shui Pao's? Impossible! Patriarch Shui Pao's expression finally changed. What he was most proud of was his law of blood. In his opinion, even if Lin Woody was a half-saint, so what? Lin Woody's comprehension of the law was too shallow and could not be compared to his. But now, he realized that he was wrong. The aura that Lin Woody's law of fire exuded was even more terrifying than his law of blood. Lin Woody's comprehension of the law was actually above his. Impossible! Patriarch Shui Pao could not believe it. He waved his blood-red palms, covering the sky and earth, charging over with the power of the law. He had to stop Lin Woody. Countless blood-red palms, carrying the law of fire, emitted a deafening sound. The law of fire's long sword trembled and countless sword lights surrounded it, destroying all the blood-red palms. There were even a few that pierced towards Patriarch Shui Pao, forcing him to dodge quickly. Damn it, how could it be so terrifying? Patriarch Shui Pao's expression was extremely cold. At this moment, Lin Xian's law of fire had formed a long sword and was held in his hand. Buzz! The great dragon sword soul roared, and billions of sword chi soared into the sky. This is my self-created law of fire, called Fire God / Now, have a taste of its might. Lin Xian waved the law of fire sword in his hand. As the sword fell, countless law fragments danced in the air, and between heaven and earth, flames surged. Other than that, no other scene could be seen. That trace of flame could easily kill a martial artist who was close to the Tao. Even a half-sage would be reduced to ashes. As expected, the eyelids of the Qi family patriarch and the other half-sages twitched. They felt a threat to their lives. This sword could not be resisted directly. Patriarch Shui Pao roared. Do you think you're the only one who knows how to use the law of fire? His palms twitched in the void, and with the movement of his palms, countless law of blood formed a blood-red longsword that emitted the same aura. Slash! With a slash of the sword, ghosts wailed and wolves howled. This was also a law of fire. The sword and saber collided in the sky, turning into an eternal light. Heaven and earth split open, and bolts of lightning fell as if a thunder tribulation had occurred. Looking at the vast and mighty lightning tribulation 8 million miles ahead, the spectating cultivators were all stunned. Was this the power of a half-sage? It was too terrifying. Even if all of them attacked together, they would not be able to resist at all and would be reduced to ashes in an instant. Had Lin Xian become so powerful? Even if he lost this time, there were probably not many people in the younger generation who could suppress him. Jun Wuya, Yu Linglong, and the others were extremely solemn. While they were still competing with the younger generation, Lin Xian was already able to contend with the older half-sages. He had even made Patriarch Shui Pao extremely embarrassed. Especially now, he had created his own law of fire. All of this was like a myth that they could only look up to. While everyone was stunned, the situation in front of them also changed. The blood-red light that filled the sky suddenly shattered, and the flame aura suddenly surged. It immediately enveloped Patriarch Shui Pao. Damn it, block it for me! Patriarch Shui Pao roared, and the illusion of a small world appeared on his body. The blood-red light inside was monstrous, as if it was a world of azura. This had already surpassed the king domain. It was a small world formed by Patriarch Shui Pao. At this moment, as soon as the small world appeared, it completely enveloped Patriarch Shui Pao, isolating him from all the flames outside. Kid, you underestimate me too much. Do you really think that I have cultivated for more than 1,000 years in vain? Now that my world has appeared, let's see how you are going to hurt me. Patriarch Shui Pao's voice echoed in the 9 heavens and 10 lands. Hearing this, Lin Xian laughed. You are too ignorant. In this world there are some people who you can't understand. Do you think your world is very powerful? Today, I will split it open for you. Lin Xian roared, and the dragon roar on his body soared into the sky. The great dragon sword soul transformed into thousands of rays of light that supported the law of fire. Suddenly, Lin Xian's law of fire sword shone brightly again, turning into a giant flame dragon that was millions of miles long, and crazily fell. The dragon's head was ferocious, and it roared. The dragon's scales were all condensed from law fragments, and the flames on its body instantly burned the void into nothingness. Chapter 3189. Modify, whoosh! Patriarch Shui Pao's small flame world started to burn. Not only that, cracks started to appear on it, and they were getting bigger and bigger. What? Lin Woody could still increase his strength. How did he do it? Could it be that he still hasn't used his full strength? When the surrounding people saw this scene, they all went crazy. Do you think that your world of blood still has the right to be arrogant in front of my sword of law? Lin Xian was like a sword emperor, walking on air. Patriarch Shui Pao's face turned pale. His body began to tremble slightly. How could this be? The blood world that he was so proud of was split apart by Lin Xian. Suddenly, Patriarch Shui Pao let out a sigh. I didn't expect you to have such strength. I'm really surprised. Seems like I've been in seclusion for so many years that I didn't know that a genius like you has appeared. Those who were watching the battle from afar were shocked when they heard Patriarch Shui Pao's words. Was Patriarch Shui Pao praising Lin Xian? But what was the situation now? Why would Patriarch Shui Pao say something like that? But soon they understood. Patriarch Shui Pao's words changed. You're strong, but it's impossible for you to defeat me. I didn't want to use some of my superpowers, lol. It's a forbidden technique. Once I use it, I'll be able to kill my opponent, but I'll be affected. It might even take me a few decades to recover. But today, I have no choice but to use it against you. Kid, you can be proud that you've forced me to use my forbidden technique. Following Patriarch Shui Pao's words, the 3,000 blood demons from all directions rushed towards Patriarch Shui Pao. Buzz! Patriarch Shui Pao's body suddenly grew taller, and he looked like a blood saint. His aura was also rapidly increasing, and he was actually suppressing Lin Xian's. Blood demons united. Patriarch Shui Pao had refined the 3,000 blood demons using the blood of countless experts, and the law of blood over 1,000 years. Each of them was extremely powerful. Even Patriarch Shui Pao didn't dare to absorb all 3,000 blood demons into his body. That was because even though he could obtain great power, he would still be devoured by the blood demon. However, he couldn't care less about that now. As long as he could kill his opponent, it wouldn't matter even if he had to go into seclusion to recover for 100 years. It was all worth it. Blood demon returns to origin. At this moment, Patriarch Shui Pao stood tall in the heavens like a peerless blood demon king. Waving his hands, countless blood-colored runes shone in all directions, gradually covering the entire heavens and earth. From tens of millions of miles away, one would find that this was a blood-red ball of light that directly enveloped Lin Xian and Patriarch Shui Pao. The area within a radius of 3 million miles had turned into a sealed space. Not good. After Patriarch Shui Pao absorbed the 3,000 blood demons, the blood world became so big. Was he going to kill Lin Woody by force? What? Are you saying that Lin Woody has entered the world of blood? Several half-saints cried out in alarm. The Qi clan's patriarch's expression changed. The surrounding people were stunned. From the looks of it, Lin Woody was once again in danger of being defeated, or even killed. He actually still had a divine ability trump card? They had to admit that they had indeed underestimated him. But so what? Now, it was over. In the face of Patriarch Shui Pao's last trump card, Lin Xian was not afraid. Once again, a second force appeared in his body. This was the power of annihilation. The power of annihilation had not yet formed the precept fragments, but after Lin Xian used the great dragon sword soul, it was different. The power of annihilation was very close to the precept fragments. This power of annihilation, coupled with the precept of fire. This made Lin Xian's sword of the precept even more powerful. Buzz! After a loud dragon roar, Lin Xian waved his arms, and with a boom, the heavens and earth cracked. It's useless. Be destroyed. World-destroying blood demon disc. Seeing that Lin Xian was going to attack again, Patriarch Shui Pao roared. His world of blood turned into a blood-red demonic disc, mercilessly crushing. He wanted to crush Lin Xian into a bloody mist. With a clang, Lin Xian's sword slashed on the blood-red demonic disc, and suddenly there was an earth-shattering sound. The blood-red demonic disc trembled slightly, but soon, it crazily fell again. Useless kid. You can't break it. Patriarch Shui Pao was very confident. If he couldn't break it with one sword, then what about 2 or 3? I don't believe that he won't break. Lin Xian's eyes burst with a piercing cold light, and his arms continued to wave. He slashed out 99 times in a row. Damn it, how is it possible? Patriarch Shui Pao's eyeballs almost fell out. Isn't this a divine ability? His opponent had already run out of power with one sword. How could he slash out 99 times? Won't his power be exhausted? Can his body bear it? He didn't know about any of this. He was now facing the terrifying attack of 99 swords. The sword chi collided with the blood-red demonic disc, and directly cut it into pieces. 30 sword chi, Patriarch Shui Pao's world of blood shattered. Facing the remaining dozens of sword chi, Patriarch Shui Pao's scalp exploded. No! He screamed, turned around, and fled. In the distance, the Patriarch of the Qi family, and the others were also stunned. What kind of divine ability was this? He had slashed out 99 swords of law in a row. How could he resist it? Patriarch Shui Pao might not be able to resist it at all. The other half-saints were also trembling. Patriarch Shui Pao tore the void crazily, but the remaining dozens of sword chi firmly locked onto him. Eventually, he was shrouded. No! Patriarch Shui Pao roared, and his body suddenly turned into endless blood mist, spreading in all directions. As a half-saint, he had many means of escape. Turning into mist was one of the most powerful means of escape. After turning into mist, his body became invisible. Ordinary attacks would not be able to harm him. Even if some of it could be destroyed, so what? As long as a trace of mist escaped, Patriarch Shui Pao could reform his body. This was the advantage of being a half-saint. A real saint could be reborn with a drop of blood. Therefore, it was very difficult to kill a saint. Although Patriarch Shui Pao was not a real saint yet, as long as he had some blood mist to escape, he could be reborn. Damn you, kid, I will remember this. One day, I will kill you with my own hands. Patriarch Shui Pao's vicious voice sounded. His escape this time had greatly damaged his vitality. It would take him hundreds of years to recover. But he swore that when he became stronger, he would kill Lin Xian with his own hands. How dare you threaten me now? Do you think you can escape today? Lin Xian sneered. He floated in the void, formed a seal with his hands, and waved it in all directions. You're tuning into the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.